Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to you, my friends. I don't know how the rest of the song goes, so welcome to Clobby'S Clubhouse. I didn't think that one through. I just wanted to sing a little happy Thanksgiving, you all. Sometimes I get it confused with happy birthday, so I just. But hey, uh, I'm going to blame the turkey coma, as Mark calls it, because all I know from today is thank you and turkey. I know no other words. Thanks, turkey. Turkey, thanks. Thanks,
Roast,
turkey.
beast,
No, I didn't have any roast.
feast.
I didn't have any roast. That was the other day. Oh, you mean that? Turkey. Yeah, here we go, everyone. This is all I know from today.
There you go.
Thanksgiving. Thank you all for being here, too. I'm thankful. I'm thankful, folks. I'm going to find out what you're thankful about. I'll tell you what I'm thankful about. It's not even a mystery, is it? I have the greatest first officer who ever lived right here with me. What's up?
Hey, hello. Hi, everyone. Hungry boy. Raquel looks mega Irish there. Well, that's true. I am mega Irish. I just did my DNA recently, and I believe I have only 1% like Norway, the very, very north of Norway. And then literally 99%. The bottom, I think it's 12. I'd have to look at the report again. The bottom 12 counties of Southern Ireland, so the Republic of Ireland. So yeah, I'm a mighty, mighty Irish.
So that's how the test came out. It read mega Irish.
Yes, it read mega, mega Irish. Yeah. I can
Nice.
understand why people are shocked, though, because usually they see my cosplay and they don't see the real me. But I took that picture. Well, I didn't take that picture. My husband took that picture of me when we were at a concert yesterday. And I thought,
cool.
That's not bad for a half a century. She's not looking too bad for a half
Beautiful.
century old. So I was like,
Beautiful.
okay, maybe I'll throw it up.
Well, look at this, folks. And now I'll get to say they have the most beautiful first officer in the fleet. Look at you.
Love you.
You dang redhead, you. My goodness. I love it. It's beautiful. Everyone right? Okay. All right, you guys behave yourselves.
Thank you. That's very kind of you.
But we love it. It's wonderful. And I hope the concert was great.
It was great, actually. We saw the Bahamas at the Windspear Center.
That's a long trip to take on for one night. Oh, sorry.
The Bahamas is the stage name of a Canadian musician by the name of Affy, and he is so talented, and it was a very intimate and beautiful concert, and it was just spectacular, and it was so nice to be back out in public again because of the damn vid. So yes. Yeah, it was really, really cool to be out and just to be at a live performance.
Well, that's excellent. That's amazing. Yes, also more
I've never seen this before. This is great.
Oh yeah, when I meme on Thanksgiving, it's still going to be comic geek stuff. So
that's beautiful.
Yes, the Avengers. Even look, Submariners even partaking. That's weird. West Coast Avengers. I don't know who did that art, Hungry Boy. By the way, you probably know. Probably Bob Hall or somebody like that, or Mike Bright. I don't know. Not one of my favorite artists or anything. Bob Hall's a nice guy. I'm just saying his art. Anyway, so everyone, before we get started with some show notes, and we were waiting on our chief engineer, who is repairing some things right now. Please, number one, tell everyone about your literary works. But then we'll say some hellos, and we'll get started with whatever we hope we get started with.
I think it's just crazy that you're always promoting my work, that you would use your own space for me. And I love you very much. Thank you so much.
Don't be ridiculous. It's your space too. Good.
I love you very much. Okay, folks, I write science fiction. And if you like Philip K. Dick, if you like the old Twilight Zone, if you love Edgar Allan Poe, then you might like my short story science fiction. And you can find it at Amazon, and you can download it on any device, or you can purchase it through your Kindle. These are all short stories that I've broken up, so it's not a huge, expensive short story collection that's bound in a book. Right now, they're just digital, and they're 74 cents American, I believe, each. And you can find them under RM Briggs. And if you could please leave a positive review, if you like it, I would really, really appreciate it.
Fantasticness, everyone, please, of course, there is the link right there. It is in the chat. So, and thank you so much, number one. I know Mark will be here eventually. Before we gets here, let's say quick show notes and we'll say some hellos. Saturday night Star Trek is an event in of itself.
We have something so fun planned for Saturday night.
Remember those old TV ads for that would always start out with tonight on a very special fill in the blank. Well, everyone, I'll try to get as close to that voice as I can. Tonight on a very special Saturday night Star Trek. Well, not tonight, Saturday, but you know what I mean. You will prepare to be touched, and well, at least don't let anyone touch it. Well, we're not going to talk about touching, are we? Oh my God, never mind. All right. No touching. I take it back. Let me start my ad over. Tonight on a very special Star Trek. Oh crap! I'm trying to get tonight on a very special Clobberin time Star Trek Saturday night. Oh, I got it wrong again. Tonight on Clobberin time Saturday night Star Trek. Prepare to be moved. Just watch it and you'll see. We have a surprise for you though. That will surprise absolutely no one, but oh my goodness.
It will be very entertaining. The surprise is going to be very entertaining. And can I please call Clobby out in front of everyone right now?
Uh-oh.
Because my husband has all the same taste in everything as Clobby, who is my Star Trek soulmate. I understand this joke because my husband actually sent this voice message to Clobby. So I know that this comes from one of their favorite Westerns. So in the corner, you will see Wesley, and he says, well, that is from one of Clobby and my husband Andrew's favorite films of all time.
Boo, Tombstone, of course.
That's right.
Love it. Yes. Well, bye, Wesley. Oh my goodness, but not farewell, unfortunately. Anyway, there's that. And of course, Monday night Moxie Comics Talk will be my Clobby's Comics Corner Spin Rack Time Machine wrap-up stream about November 1971 and maybe other comics topics too, but we'll kind of wrap up the 8, I should say, videos about the Spin Rack Time Machine, which really aggravated me the other day. I missed my own damn video. Forgot to set my reminder for it. Brr. Sorry. Anyway, so who's here with us?
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but that is the best poster you've ever made. And that whole idea of having the beautiful thing, the blue-eyed thing, smashing through all those spinner racks is just brilliant. I just love the visuals. I love the nostalgia of this poster. I just love everything about it. I love the way that you used space, the way that you occupied the space and organized things. I absolutely love this poster. This is premium Clobby at his best. And you know what, folks? You know that Clobby does all of this stuff on a teeny tiny little phone. That's how he does all of these graphics. And you guys wondering why I'm always pumping his tires. Well, that's why. Like on a teeny tiny phone, he makes these beautiful things. So, Captain, another fabulous poster that I love.
Well, thank you. I thought I only she didn't put the TARDIS on there because November's Doctor Who month. It's really all about comics, but thank you. I just wanted to, and I always use that time vortex from the Tom Baker Doctor Who credits, of course, because these time is, a TARDIS, and these spinning racks are little TARDISes, as you can see, everyone. Well, you get the point. But well, thank you. I didn't think much of it myself because I always hate those things I make because on the phone they can never really look as well. And by the way, I can't. If I could do that on the computer, I would. I can't. It's such a. I do make a lot of pictures on the computer, but it doesn't work. It's not as good as the phone, believe it or not. As far as making what I want to make. The great Phantom Outsider's here with us tonight. Hey, man.
Hey! Oh, I have comics for you, Phantom Outsider.
We have for you. Comics for you, Phantom Outsider.
Well, for everyone, but I'm so glad that you're here, Phantom Outsider, because I know that you really enjoy talking about the whole comic book thing. And, you know, it's the guys have really got me into this little space where I like bringing these questions by presenting these oddball comics now. So now I'm looking through my husband's, what do you call it again? Long box? I'm looking through his long box. At the stuff that he has bagged and boarded. And see, I know what bagged and boarded means now because you all taught me. And I was looking through odd stuff because I know so many of you are comic professionals like Clobby, and Clobby always attracts the best people. So I have some weird stuff to ask you tonight. So should be interesting and might even get a couple of belly laughs from our wonderful comic book experts in the chat.
We hope so. We look forward to it. Kal-El. Hey.
Hi, sweetheart.
Good to see you, my friend. Hungry for big burgers. Oh, boy. Okay, you changed your name. I'm sorry. Nice. I like that name. And yes. Who isn't hungry for big burgers? Burgers.
I love cheeseburgers.
Stuart Mitchell. Good to see you, my friend from across the pond.
Dolly had railroad
Dolly
tracks.
had braces. She says railroad tracks. I say braces, but potato.
She could tune in the radio.
Yep. Or if she goes near an airport, she gets the signals there. The lovely Sherry.
Hello,
Sherry.
beautiful.
Lovely to see you, my dear. The great Chris Persia is here.
What's up, man? Good evening, honey.
What's up, dude? Good to see you, buddy. Let's see here. I know somebody else. Keely Chow. Roll Tide, Keely Chow.
Hello.
Damn Raiders. Oh, did they beat the Cowgirls? I forgot you were a Cowgirls fan. Oh, man. Sorry. Insincerely. Sorry. Insincerely for that, too. I'm sorry for being insincere. I apologize.
Give me a break. You don't have an insincere bone in your body. You're terrific.
Well, if I say I'm sorry the Cowboys lost, I'm being insincere. Even though I don't even follow football anymore. I'm sorry, I just can't stand Jerry Jones, buddy. What he did to Tom Landry, he should just be cursed to the everlasting flames of NFL damnation. Ted Millett, hello there. Canadian Spider-Man.
Good evening.
Canadian Spider-Man does whatever a Canadian spider can.
When's the next fireside?
Yeah.
You should have another fireside, and you should bring a guitar and you should sing. Maybe invite some people to the fire pit, and we'll all hang out and we can have a proper fireside on Canadian Spider-Man's channel.
Indeedishness, Canadian Spider. I hope you're doing well, buddy. And I know you're up in. I know you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, but I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Let's just let's see here. LDG, hello there.
Hello.
J-Man, dude.
Hey, J-Man's here.
Good to see you, buddy.
J-Man, I love you. Thank you so much for reading my work. And you are just brilliant. You are such an articulate person. I absolutely love your reviews. And this relationship that I get to have with you through my stories is just so remarkable to me. And I appreciate you so much. Thank you for supporting me as an independent artist and just for being a brilliant person who just says such wonderful things. I'm so proud to know you and so happy that you're my friend.
Indeed, buddy. Good to see you. Yes, J-Man, what was it I forgot what it was now. That we decided to talk about next? You mentioned it last night and I forgot. Oh, well. Well, I think you mentioned it last night because we must do a show again soon, brother. I can't remember what it was now. Oh, well, it'll fly back to me when I don't need it. Christian Delorme, hello there. Nice to meet you. I don't believe we've had the pleasure. Good to see you there. Thank you. Let's see. So, anyone else who pops in, we will speak to them. Hopefully, we will. Oh, yes, there you go. Thank you. Spider-Man Home Alone. Yeah, I'm now calling it that forever. I'm stealing that from you.
J-Man is a very intelligent person. He is so much fun to be around. Very, very clever man.
I tell you what, Spider-Man Home Alone. Did you mean to write Spider-Man?
Probably.
Well, I'm stealing it.
It's great.
I'm just gonna Stan Lee you on that one because I like that. Because what is it with the word home anyway? The first one of his solo MCU films was Spider-Man Homecoming. Then there was Far From Home, which I call Far From Good. And now we've got another one, Home Alone. Well, Spider-Man, it's not Home Alone. That's what he's calling it. It's something that it's a home, No Way Home or some kind of crap. And I'm gonna watch it. I'll be fair to it and all that stuff, J-Man. But I have not liked. I don't mind him in the other films he's in. I like the actor Tom Holland, but that's really not my Spidey. The way they've, well, I've been over and over it. But we'll do that one for sure. And
my Spider-Man is the 60s cartoon.
Oh, well, yeah, well, that's sensible enough.
Because everybody knows I'm not going to lie and say that I read comics. I've never read comics. I'm just learning from all of these experts now. So yeah, I know zero about comics. Well, I'm starting to learn now, but back then, no. But I loved the original Spider-Man cartoon. I loved the jazz. I loved the storytelling. I even when I was a little bit older and I shouldn't be watching it, I would watch it over the lunch hour, and I just loved it. So yeah,
I love that cartoon. I love that music. I mean, there's some I think some YouTube channel put a bunch of it on one of them where you can just without the dialogue, just clips of just the music.
Yeah,
swinging scenes and stuff like that. It's just fantastic.
Yeah,
just fantastic.
There's a soundtrack of it on Spotify, and it's it's some of the best acid jazz, and it's so wonderful. And I was in band, and so it was a big deal to me that this cartoon was like this, and so I was just like, hey, that's my music. This is great. So yeah, I love that original Canadian Spider-Man.
It was great. It was the one I loved the most. It was really that and the Power Records Spider-Man I got, and then some of I think my first exposure to Spidey was that cartoon.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love it.
It's good stuff.
Paul Souls, whatever it was, the guy doing the voice. It's kind of weird. I love his voice of Spider-Man, even though Peter Parker's a kid, but he made him sound like he was 40 years old, but still, he was just great. He just passed recently. He did voices forever.
Yeah, but his voice is always going to be Spider-Man for me, and probably for Canadian Spider-Man as well. I mean, that's what we grew up on, and so we just always imagined Spider-Man to be one of those guys whose voice dropped early.
Yeah, absolutely. What's that Canadian Spidey says something about
Tom's here.
Who?
Tom's here.
Tom from Midnight's Edge, After the Dark. Tom, what's up, dude?
Hey, sweetheart.
You're talking about music. There's Mead Radio himself.
Yeah.
Good to
see you, dude. What up?
Yeah. Good to see you there, Tom. I hope you're having a wonderful Thanksgiving. Did anyone else have a good Thanksgiving? Those who celebrated here? I mean, if you're suffering from what Mark calls the turkey coma, then that means you did. Because I know I am.
We've already had our Thanksgiving because we're celebrating something entirely different in Canada. But you're making me like genuinely jealous. I want some turkey. I want some dressing. I want some gravy. I want a mountain of champ. And if you don't know what champ is, they're like Irish mashed potatoes where you're putting in just lots of cheese and gravy and herbs and it's just and some onion, and it's just give me more.
Gotcha. Oh, well, hey, Brightest Day, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. Dave G. Sound, hello there. Yes, Hungry Boy, that Spider-Man cartoon, Ralph Bakshi actually, worked on that cartoon. So did Gray Morrow. So those are some pretty big names. Captain James T. Skywalker, hello there. So that cartoon, yes, and I love it. So, and the theme is so amazing that they've managed to use it later. Mm-hmm. There's a really crazy, back when Spider-Man Homecoming, I don't like the movie that much, but the soundtrack has a great, almost an operatic version or like a very, In other words, they've done variations on that Spider-Man theme song that are just really good. A lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Even the Ramones, didn't the Ramones do one with them? The Ramones did one in the 80s or something like that. They did a video of it.
Yeah. Well, I've never
I
seen
love it.
that, but I will definitely be looking it up tonight. That's for sure.
It's
Uh,
crazy.
yeah, I love the Ramones when I was young. They were so subversive.
Oh yes, Tom. I could not stand the Spider-Verse, the animated, but I also don't like Homecoming either, or the two MCU versions. But yeah, I'm one of the. I thought I was until I saw you. I think thought I was the only one that did not like that Spider-Verse animated feature. I can't stand it. I really can't stand anything to do with any the whole concept of a Spider-Verse. To be honest with you, or 50 zillion different spider characters. I like that there's a Superman family because I'm old school. I like that there's a Batman family because I'm old school. It didn't need to be done with every character where they had like all these multiple variations and stuff. So, yeah.
Chris Persia, if you ever put cranberry sauce on my plate, I will smack it off. We do not need to put that filth on the plate. What we do need to do is go directly to a heap of mashed potatoes, stick our fork in it and make like a hole and pour the gravy into it, because then you can like basically fit a quarter of a cup of gravy in the middle of your potatoes and then on the rest of your plate. So essentially it becomes gravy with other things in it. And that's for sure. That's how you handle that. There will be none of that cranberry sauce crap going on my plate. Also, J-Man, Rocket Robin Hood is very Canadian. I absolutely loved Rocket Robin Hood. And one thing that I do know, because I'm Canadian, is that the backgrounds that they used to make Spider-Man were recycled for Rocket Robin Hood.
That's right.
And I noticed this when I was young. I was like, that's the backing for this episode, and that's the backing for this episode. So the background graphics, the background drawings. So yeah, we're J-Man, we're so proud of Rocket Robin Hood here in Canada. I still remember all the lyrics to the show. I know all of them.
Yeah, well, it was made by Krantz Films, the same studio that made Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we never. It was syndicated. It was syndicated. Rocket Robin Hood, but I never got to see it down here. We never got it down this far down here.
Yeah.
So, I went when I heard. I think I heard Doomcock talking about it one night, and then later you talked about it, and
yeah.
So I went and actually watched some of them.
Yeah. Well, cool. Rod Thunderheart is the one who told DC about Rocket Robin Hood. We were in the chat one night, and there were several other Canadians there. And so the Canadians basically dogpiled DC, and we were like, you got to watch Rocket Robin Hood. You got to watch Rocket Robin Hood. And sometimes it would be back to back, the Spider-Man and the Rocket Robin Hood episodes. So it was a huge thing here in Canada, especially for the kids who grew up in the 70s. So it's all the Gen X kids now that are like, yeah, Rocket Robin Hood.
Right. Well, there you go. Yeah, well, again, great stuff. I love the older cartoons, of course. It seems like the older I get, the more I need cartoons. It's probably not a healthy evolution, but I can't help it. I mean, I got to watch my cartoons, and I don't know. It's because I guess they don't make very many movies that I like anymore, or many TV shows that I can stand anymore. So I'll just either watch old cartoons for the zillionth time. Well, we were talking last night about reviewing some older shows, and maybe even watching, and I couldn't believe it, but I think Mark, who is on his way here eventually, I think he's coming, will be here, folks. He's never seen Briscoe County Jr., which is just not acceptable, so I need for him to see that.
No idea what that is.
The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr., it's one of my all-time favorite shows, but that ties into the show that I want to do soon called Brilliant but Canceled. Great shows that got canceled so quickly. And shows that no one else. Well, that's when people do remember, because it got a pretty decent afterlife, if you will, after in syndicate, or in reruns and such.
I love that idea. that idea that you have for excellent, not given a chance, canceled too soon. I love that the whole idea of incubating a show for that. It's just outstanding.
I'm doing it. So I'm going to do it soon. Now, Bruce Campbell. I was talking about this last night. Bruce, Jack of all trades was pretty funny, but Bruce Campbell, the Briscoe was the only acting job he ever did, I think. And what I mean by that is, I love the guy. I love him in Evil Dead, and I love him as Ash. I love him in a lot of things, but let's face it, he's always just playing Bruce Campbell. Briscoe's the one character that isn't just Bruce. There's a lot more to the character than that. He's usually just, again, that's coming from a huge fan of Bruce Campbell. I'm just saying, Briscoe is not Bruce. Every other character he plays is Bruce, which is fine. I love Ash. Ash is Bruce, pretty much. Mm-hmm. In the sense that he does all the same thing with his characters. He's very famous. He's popular because of a lot of that. But Briscoe's different. The character's not like that. I love that show. A science fiction, fantasy, Western. I mean, crazy. Mm-hmm. So you've never seen that one? Wow.
No, I've never seen it. J-Man is Canadian. I'm totally blown away. J-Man says in the chat, yep, Hercules, Rocket Robin Hood, all the great Canadian goodness. I'm Canadian. And then he says the Edison twins. You are so our age. You're Gen X, J-Man. Nobody else would even know what the Edison twins was. Do you remember all the lyrics for the Edison twins? I do. I remember all the lyrics for Hercules. I remember all the lyrics for Rocket Robin Hood. And I remember all the lyrics, sadly, for the Edison twins.
Nice. Nothing to be ashamed of there at all. Nothing. Yes, I know. I'm exaggerating a little bit and saying Bruce never acts in anything else. He was acting in Escape from L.A. I'm just saying, for the most part, taking a fully fleshed out character that isn't exactly like, well, okay, he's not doing Ash in this one. And he's usually, when he's doing like the protagonist, he's kind of Ash. Mm-hmm. He said, what's it? Clobberin, IMDb has a list of 100 most brilliant but canceled shows. There was an old network. I forgot it, back in the 2000s or whatever it was, that I used to have. It was one of those, I would pass by it once in a while on my DirecTV at the time or whatever, because I used to have DirecTV for a long time. And they had a little spot they would call Brilliant but Canceled. And they would show some shows that did not last that long.
Nice.
And I thought that was just like, but the idea actually came from, in a sense, really came from the Sci-Fi Channel when it was still good when it just started out in the early 90s.
Yeah.
They had a thing called the Series Collection, which they would show very short-lived science fiction or fantasy related shows, of course. Mm-hmm. Like My Wonderful Beloved Probe, they actually showed it on there. But because I knew every episode backwards and forwards already, I was pissed off that they butchered it a little bit for time. They cut stuff out.
Yeah, and it's sad that they cancel a lot of these shows because there's a lack of interest in them, and they don't allow them to catch fire. One of the series that I really liked was, I think it was called Earth 2, but there's another one.
Yes.
I forget its name, but there are two from that era that mm-hmm. I feel so sad that it wasn't explored, because I was having a ball with both of them. And having a list of that would just be outrageously fun. I could sit around all day just looking them up, and of course, I'm always telling people, watch Genesis 2, watch Genesis 2.
Right, absolutely. I didn't watch Earth 2, but I remember it.
Yeah,
I forgot which network it was on. Actually, the Sci-Fi Channel used to show it, didn't they?
Yeah, I think that's where I watched it, was the Sci-Fi Channel, and then when it was gone and it did not reach fruition, there was no closure to it. It left a gaping wound. So I'm still annoyed by so many of these great shows that we never got a conclusion to, and yet we were drawn into them, and they were so wonderful, they were so intriguing, they were so well written. But I mean, that was also at the time when people started moving towards wanting more CGI. They didn't want to use their imaginations. They didn't want the visuals to be I don't know. I don't even know a way of describing it, because I mean, it works for me, but they wanted something very futuristic. So and that's how we lost a lot of those shows, and it's really unfortunate.
Well, absolutely. Hey there, Monkey Jeebus. Good to see you. Let's see here. Oliver Belamonte, welcome. Good to see you. Captain James C. Skywalker, hello there.
Hey.
Absolutely. Hungry Boy, look, yeah, Kolchak deserved 4 seasons. Kolchak the Night Stalker was terrific. And that's my criteria is basically this. Once if it got 1 season or less, which means because some shows didn't even get a full season. Probe got 7 episodes. QED got 6 episodes. Firefly got 14 episodes if you count the pilot. There he is.
Hey guys, sorry.
Yay!
Sorry, plenty of turkey to eat, and we're finishing up a family movie, so I didn't want to cut out on everyone since I made them watch Real Genius. So
well, we might forget. I was gonna not forgive you until you said Real Genius, which is one of the greatest movies ever of the 80s. I love it. So
yeah, the kids are like, well, what's this movie about? Just watch. Yep. I think is that the most popcorn ever used in a movie?
By far, it's really a popcorn movie. But that's right? We're not spoiling anything though.
No.
If you haven't seen Real Genius, I really actually wouldn't want to spoil it for you because it's such a wonderful surprise at the end of that film. But did they like it, or do we have to disown your kids now?
Yeah, they kind of understood why Dad liked it a lot. I think a lot of geeks and nerds in the movie, but I think the humor is a little dated for them. I don't know. So they didn't not like it, but they didn't. They're like, who's Val Kilmer?
Who's Val Kilmer?
Yeah. Don't kick me out of the clubhouse.
Okay, folks, we're looking for a new first officer.
I'm a full-fledged nerd. I do not remember this movie. I vaguely remember Val Kilmer being in a movie in 1985. I probably rented it on beta. Maybe not even VHS. I probably rented it on beta from the Red Rooster because I'm Canadian. So I don't even remember Real Genius. It did not make a mark on me.
I went to the theater maybe 5, 6, 7 times. I mean, I love it.
Oh my goodness. Now I need to rewatch this. I need to rewatch this with Clobby'S.
Well, there's a lot of research in the movie, right?
Dark Shadow Logan. Yes. They're basically they're at a college, but they're extraordinary, very young geniuses, and you don't want to tell anyone about the plot because it's something you got to watch. It has a very, there's a very sweet feel to it, but it's got a great sense of humor. He's pretty much Hawkeye.
I would say so, yeah.
When MASH was funny, I mean, Val's really hilarious, and of course, and he is a real genius, but everyone is. I mean, there's a bunch of them in there. You can get, and it's got Dick Dickless in it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
the guy who plays Dick in Die Hard, and he plays Dickless in Ghostbusters.
Yep.
William Atherton.
Yeah, I mean the basic plot is you've got like a super genius kid who's like a Sheldon Cooper, gets recruited to go to college at age 15. So then he meets Val Kilmer. Not giving away anything else, but that's the setup. So I've got this fish out of water.
But he's not like Sheldon. I just want to make sure he's not not a caricature like Sheldon.
No. He's just young, young and in college, but extremely smart. So and then there's some crazy hijinks that happens in the movie. There's a lot of Kilmer's got a lot of great one-liners.
Oh my God, that's another quotable. The one-liners.
Yeah.
Like, what was it? The beginning when he said, "So you're Chris Knight?" He goes, "I hope so. I'm wearing his underwear."
Yeah.
He's like that the whole time.
And the one I don't want to quote is with the dean's daughter, but
no, don't do that. Well, talk about problematic right now.
Yeah, that'd be problematic. But that quote is that's actually she says it. She says it, not him. So
she's toxic in the scene, but he'd get blamed for it. Oh, the stupid TV version though. Ugh.
Oh, you can't watch it on TV, probably.
My God, it's so quotable though. You know what? I love Ferris Bueller, but I think this is better. Just someone's mentioned Ferris Bueller, so as far as like. Again, that was an era comedy. Of teen, young and teen comedies and stuff. They're sort of teens, I guess. There was a lot of that going on, and this one, without being ridiculously. In fact, let's think about it. It's not crude like most of them back then at all.
No,
none
it's
of
not.
it's
Other
crude.
than that one line.
But the movie is not crude, or there's no gross outs. There's none of that kind of humor at all. Not even really potty humor, or cursing at all. Like the one line is, there's a bit of a sexual in you there, but the one, but the thing is, no, it really doesn't. Other than that, It's pretty clean.
No,
when
there's
you
no
think
there's
about
no
some of your
nudity in
80s
it. Yeah,
films.
the
Yeah,
beauty
but to
school
be
girls.
fair, and
yeah.
I can't believe that I'm using that as an opener because it's so overused and I want to slap
Right.
people when they say it. But
Don't
to
slap
be
yourself.
fair, we left home when we were 18 or 19 years old because there was a blue collar a segment of society, and many people became machinists and mechanics, and many young women went to work in bakeries, or they went into childcare, or they went into whichever. A lot of women became secretaries and so on and so forth. So a lot of people had already got their life started by the time they were 18 years old. A lot of people had children when they were 20, 21, 22 years old. It was, what are you waiting for? And
Yep.
most of our parents and grandparents were dead when they were like 60, 65 years old, because everybody smoked, 2 packs of cigarettes a day. And even if you didn't smoke, you got to smoke right along with everyone when you were in restaurants, when you were in, you could go to the local pancake house and it was filled with, 200 people smoking. We smoked on airplanes. Like, the life expectancy, a lot of people had a lot of health problems due to the amount of cigarette smoke that was going around at that time. So, when you're 18 and you're beginning your life and you're moving out of home, boy, do you have a different mentality than if you get to stay at home until you're 36 years old.
No, that's for sure. Yeah.
No, they
Right?
they can't remake that. Good, it's remake proof. But
Yes.
Yeah,
everybody
there's
tried
no
it.
way.
Yeah,
Yes.
Outsider keeps putting up a couple of quotes, but they don't blow anything. So yeah,
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
girl's gotta have her standards. And by the way, I love her. She went on to play the Valley Girl. Remember the movie with Nicolas Cage?
Oh, she was the Valley Girl. Yeah.
Yeah, that was her. Remember that?
No, she was
From the
cute. Yeah,
80s?
she was cute. Yeah.
Oh, I love
Well,
her.
that line,
She's
like, have you ever seen a body like that?
she happens to be my daughter.
daughter.
Oh.
It's like, well,
Yeah, I
yes,
guess you have.
I guess you have. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
guess you
remember
have.
that. I remember that
Oh,
line.
there you go.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That was Ed Lauder, but the great Ed Lauder in that movie.
Ah.
Yeah. Yeah, she happens to be my daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot
that
of
movie
fun.
is crazy, fun, wacky movie. But yeah, I think I don't know if you got to like that kind of humor too. So the missus wasn't too happy with my movie choice. But at least I
in trouble.
But at least I avoided the watching the new James Bond movie because my son had already watched it. So
Oh,
we're
good. You
gonna
want to watch that?
So
Did
I
you watch
didn't that.
Did you all watch Hawkeye yet?
No, my son actually watched it without me, so he's grounded. So I haven't watched it
Oh,
yet.
yeah.
But yep. He's
Dude,
like, I was bored, so I watched it. I'm like, you were supposed
And
to
he was
watch
bored
it.
after he watched it, probably. He's like
Yeah,
me.
he thought it was kind of boring, yeah. But the those comic books are pretty decent. If I remember reading them years ago, and on Twitterverse they've been all upset that Adja, the artist, isn't getting credit or enough credit.
They've been doing that to all the artists. Why
They've been doing it. It's nothing new, but
they didn't pay Ed Brubaker a penny for the Winter Soldier. They let him be in a scene in the movie. They didn't pay him a dime.
Well, didn't he get residuals from being in the movie, or he got nothing?
He got paid for
movie?
being in the movie. Like I said, he didn't get paid anything.
Yeah, no,
creating the character. They used a loophole, but yeah, they don't pay any of those people when they acknowledge him, except Kirby because they got shamed into it. They pay the Kirby heirs a little bit, but Marvel doesn't pay anybody.
No, but I was thinking maybe if they could put the guys in the movie, at least as a way to get them paid.
They didn't pay Matt Fraction either.
Yeah. Right, so it's Fraction and Ajay. Yeah, I mean
I don't think so.
And you're looking at all the artwork. It's like I've just seen the promos, and it's clearly taken from the comic book.
They may have paid him to use the art, but I don't even know. With the contract he signed with Marvel,
probably not.
I don't think so.
Probably not.
That's evil.
Hungry Boy in the chat says, I started freelancing at 20, was working at a bookstore at 19. Yeah, Hungry Boy, a lot of us in Gen X and a lot of boomers, a lot of our friends went into the military, and a lot of our friends left high school, got jobs, and started their families. So yeah, I totally agree. And Monkey Jeebus says, that's just dumb. Smoking if you own a bookstore. Monkey Jeebus, not only were people smoking in the bookstore, bookstore, but the people who worked at the bookstore were smoking in the bookstore. So you would walk into the bookstore with a cigarette, and you would go and thumb through the books and pick out which books you want to buy. There were people who would linger, at the magazine racks. Smoking was absolutely everywhere. And there was definitely no guarantee that your mom and dad or your grandparents were going to live until they were 80 or 90. Many of them were quite sick by the time they were 50 or 60 from all the smoking. Yeah, it was definitely a different time. And I don't think a lot of people pay attention to just how different it was a very short period of time ago. Like we have transitioned our lives in such a different direction. It's remarkable.
Very true. Yeah, very true. I was started watching Get Back today by the Beatles. So if you're a huge Beatles fan or not like I am, they have all the footage that they shot. Peter Jackson went back for the they were going to shoot an album, have a concert actually, and then the footage has been hidden for years. Well, I think they showed the movie that they made a couple of times. Was a lot of the Get Back movie, and a lot of conflicts about who broke up the Beatles, this and that. But Peter Jackson, they went back and recut a new version. And my God! And the first thing I noticed too, like you were saying, everyone's smoking. Like all the Beatles are smoking. Like they're in the studio. It's like you're a singer. It's like they're just smoking nonstop. But if your Beatles nut, catch that. It's on. It's out now. But Get
I'd like to see
by
that,
Peter Jackson. Yeah, I love the Beatles. Cool. So
yeah, me too. Nice.
That's a segue from one crazy thing to another. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. Phantom Outsider says, I was contemplating the words of Socrates who said, I drank what? That's hemlock, sir. Hemlock.
He's giving real genius quotes. Also,
real
this one.
Quotes, yeah.
Yep. You motherfucker, light switch on your underwear? How do you sit down? There's so many quotes in it. I mean, that's all Val Kilmer too. His delivery is. It's funny that he was in Top Secret, but he was playing it straight in an Abrams Zucker, airplane type comedy.
Mm-hmm.
So he's playing it straight. In this one, he's just. I mean, his timing's brilliant, and he's not a comedian or anything like that. Of course, he's just a great actor. He's hilarious and just amazing. I love him in this movie.
Yeah.
Have you seen his documentary on him, on his, I think he did a living memoir and put it to film, and it's on Netflix. Have you watched that yet?
Mm-mm.
I saw that was out on Netflix. I haven't watched it yet. And unfortunately, he had cancer. He's been suffering lately. So God bless him. And, he's they were using technology to regain the use of his voice. And, unfortunately, he can no longer speak, I guess, unaided without a computer. And, just imagine for anyone, it's horrible, but imagine for an actor. And I think at some point, the tabloids are making fun of him, how he looked, how he gained weight or didn't look well.
People can't do that. So
and the
bad.
Same thing happened, with the actor for Black Panther. Remember they were saying Chadwick Boseman, how he looked horrible, and turned out the guy had both of these people had cancer, so people are going to be of course, who expects the tabloids to be respectful? But but
it's even the actors in Hollywood, because look at what happened with Norm Macdonald when he was doing that show, which we watched because Norm is Canadian, and we were excited to, especially because he's my era of Saturday Night Live.
I love Norm.
But, Chevy Chase was absolutely, I think it was Chevy Chase he was absolutely horrible to him. And he was mocking him because he had saliva on the corners of his mouth. And he basically mocked him and said, you're disgusting. Why don't you wipe your mouth? And meanwhile, he was going through chemotherapy treatments and he was quite ill. So, Mark, I totally agree with you. Why do people do that? It's just, I don't understand why other people feel like they have a right to publicly, physically judge others, especially not for sartorial choices, if you're going to wear a meat dress somewhere, that's going to raise some eyebrows. But these people who go up, who make it their business to go after intimate things that where somebody's physical appearance, where it could be cancer. It boggles the mind where they get the audacity to be that way towards others. Sad.
Yep.
Yeah, very, very, very sad. Yeah, and I always think of that too. And you comedians, that's a cheap shout, or for anyone to take, someone's appearance. It's really not. It's not funny unless someone's, like you said, wearing something stupid or doing doing something crazy like that. But people don't have sympathy, or maybe think twice before they make fun of some of the physical ailment, or the initial reaction is to laugh or look at someone strange. Like my grandfather, which is I chuckle about it now, but he was in a really bad car accident. So back in the 60s, the technology that replaced his knee, and his knee actually bent backwards when he walked, like a pelican or a bird, if you picture that. So, and I grew up with him like that, so I never fazed me. But then, when I got older, you could see people looking at him and staring at him like, what the hell is wrong with you? And I'm like, well, doesn't your grandfather's leg go backwards too? When I was a 8-year-old kid or something, like, you don't know anything, right? But then you could see, like, the looks that people sometimes would give, or kind of be disgusted. He was probably one of the nicest guys ever, but he didn't let it bother him. But it's always always should think twice about especially that kind of humor. Just that I just can't stand. Or it's not even humor. It's just being mean, really. But I bet they feel really guilty about it now.
Minimus is here.
Wonderful. Welcome.
Neil Minimus, Claude, aka Claude.
Mr. Parrish, good evening, sir. It's so good to see you here.
What's up, Decepticon? What's up, buddy? Good to see you. Shane Nolan, welcome. Hello there. Yeah. So, yep. Well, Norm was fantastic. That's for sure. And yes, Chevy Chase is a piece of poo. Garbage.
Yeah.
Just garbaggio.
Yeah, Mr. Parrish, I understand that Norm apologized for some things that he said that offended people, and I'm not the kind of person who keeps a record of offensive things that comedians have said, but I do know that Norm was somebody who really, really liked to push the boundaries, and he said a couple of things that offended me, but that's the way comedy is. And so wasn't he friends with Dave Chappelle? Anyway, so he is, I think he's quite gifted, and I don't think he owes an apology to anyone, because I think, format is everything. And I think it's incredibly important to realize the power of comedy and the limitations of comedy. And I think that people need to understand context. And so, he said some things where I was like, oh, ooh, geez, Norm. But I still would never want to throw any roadblocks in front of his craft, because like he wanted to push the boundaries. He wanted to test the boundaries, and a lot of the time, I think it was for good. I think it was for the good.
He was amazing. It was amazing. And you have a fan club now, Mark D with the C.
Yeah. Thank you.
Marty with the C is my favorite human with a backward like a grandpa. There you go.
There we go.
I would have to. You might be my favorite with that as well.
Thank you.
But I have to check my list to be sure.
Yeah. So he was a great guy. Yeah. So he was a toll booth collector. So I always think on Thanksgiving, he stayed up 24 hours straight or whatever. So he had Thanksgiving dinner, and then he'd worked the night before, stayed up, I guess, the whole day for Thanksgiving, and then went to work for the night shift. So he. Driving home from working in the toll booth, he crashed into a bridge embankment.
Oh my God!
And so he was in the hospital for like 8 months, and thankfully they just started ICU back then. So we have all I have I found scanning everything, or family records. They had the list of all his ailments, and it was had like 25 or 30 broken bones, and
Jeez.
It was unbelievable that he even survived. So. But he was in, back then you were in the hospital,
Yeah.
They didn't send you to rehab, or then he went to rehab. It was 8 months basically in the hospital. So my parents got married a year later. They put ramps in the house, but he finally, he was able to get around and walk again. But it was right. So it was like this time, I was thinking that, it was Thanksgiving that happened in 1967. That would have been, yeah.
Wow.
So, but thanks all those doctors and nurses. Yeah, they're amazing. Yep.
Yeah.
Captain Cockney, what's up, buddy? Good to see you.
Good evening.
Indeedishness. Well, Raquel, you were telling me before Mark finally decided to show up. I mean, before Mark...
Yeah, thanks, Mark.
I needed my popcorn, if you know what I mean, right?
Turkey coma. Yeah.
yeah.
And now I'm totally
Um,
jealous. Like, I didn't think this was going to affect me as a Canadian. I've already had my Turkey Day. It's a different type of holiday up here, but I felt all satisfied. And now you folks are bringing up all this turkey and all this gravy.
Yes.
Just mean.
Sorry. Well, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Yep. If I didn't say it already. Yep.
Happy Turkey Day, everybody.
Happy past Turkey Day for Canadians. Yep.
Yes, yes.
Happy deep fried turkey day. So deep fried. Sorry.
Raquel, you mentioned some comic books to show us, though. You brought some
Okay,
show and
yes.
tell part, didn't you?
Yeah, well, because I found this whole endeavor rather intriguing. I hang out with you, gentlemen, and all of these experts show up in the chat, and we all have a wonderful, wonderful time. And you folks teach me.
I don't see any experts in that chat, but go ahead.
So, so I have been digging around in my husband's long box. That's what it's called, I've been taught. And looking at his bagged and boarded merchandise. Yes, I know it's bagged and boarded. And
It's slabbed?
No, it's not slabbed. So I picked out some unusual stuff because I like the way it moves the conversation. I love the way that everyone engages with it. So my first question this evening is, I have in front of me a bagged and boarded Superman that is bloody and it's all black.
Superman
What is this?
75?
It's in a black bag.
Yes, Superman 75.
Okay.
Volume
so what
2,
is
75. It'd have to be, wouldn't it, Mark?
Yeah, that would
Something
be
like
when.
that.
Yeah, that would be the death of Superman. Yep. From
Yes.
Doomsday.
What?
Yep. It was actually the funny thing. Well, not funny, but I remember, being a comic book collector, everyone was trying to get to the comic book shop to buy that book, and I think for a while it went up to like ridiculous levels of value.
Mm-hmm.
It's since fallen back to earth, but yeah, you had to buy it in that bag. So if you open the bag, then it wasn't worth as much. But then you can't grade it if it's in the bag, right? I don't know how that.
I tore mine right out of the bag.
You tore yours right out of the bag, right?
But I did it to be an a-hole because I hate that comic.
Yeah.
Okay,
In front of a whole bunch of people. But let me go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yes,
I don't
they
like
went
this.
crazy,
It's not very
probably.
good. You don't kill Superman. What the hell? Okay,
That was a gimmick. It was a dumb gimmick. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah.
and so right beside it, he has the white Superman that says the Man of Steel fights for his life. Well, you can see that beyond the white bag, but there is a white bag.
Right here. Here they are both. Here's a picture.
So this is what's in front of me. Please tell me, chat and my panel of experts, my two best buddies, tell me about this endeavor.
Cockney. Like what Cockney wrote about Spidey 2 for the first black costume. I hate that thing. Yeah, I didn't even buy that. I just looked at it and said that costume sucks and then buy it. But go ahead. Take it away, Mark, because I know you have these listed.
Yes, I have these listed. Yeah, so this was came out 1/1/93. So that was the death of Superman. So that had a poster in it, stamps, an armband, trading card, obituary, a memorial stamp set. So that was the collectible version. So there's different versions of what were in there, and there's also a platinum edition that's was much more limited and not the white. So that looks like the platinum edition to the right there, and that one's worth about $350 right now.
Wow.
And it has it's got silver platinum lettering on it. And so the standard one's worth about $20 today. Nice. Of course, if you slab it and grade it, maybe the people go nuts about it. So issue 74 was the they had lead up to it was like the fight with Superman. I think it went through all it went through Adventure Comics too, or did it go through? What did it run through? It ran through
Adventures of Superman.
May I please interrupt? I beg your pardon. I hate interrupting you guys, but J-Man's leaving. So could we all please say goodnight to J-Man? J-Man, thank you so much for coming tonight.
All right, J-Man, buddy. Good to see you, bro. Thanks.
Take care, J-Man. So I'm trying to remember, excuse me, so it was a multi-part series, and then they ran it through different, to sell more books. So the death of Superman was in issue, 74 really is that final blow where he actually dies in that
Yep.
I would say, right in
This
that
was,
last.
of course, Superman Volume 2, by the way, because
Yeah.
so there was Superman Volume 1 was for a while transformed into Adventures of Superman.
Yep. So they
Do you
had,
remember?
yes, they had multiple, of course, got to have
And
multiple
then it was
books per
action.
month.
Yeah.
Yep. So, yeah, so there were 4. Let me say, I'm looking at the program. There were 74. There were 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 variants of issue number 74.
Okay.
So today there would have been like 50, different variants, and they're worth about, let's say I'm looking $6, $25. So really not worth, the prices come back to earth. So it's a bad quote, but and 75 is the one that has, the death, the death of Superman. And 74 is, like I said, that last final. I believe that's that last part of the battle, or maybe it goes over to. I'll have to Google it. It might go over to Adventures of Superman. But yeah, so they wanted to do that, like Nightfall when that came out. That was a famous kind of the same idea. They break.
Hey there, Andy Masterson. Oh, sorry, and Eric K's here. Yo, brother.
Hey
Good
guys,
evening.
welcome.
Good evening. And Eric K, good evening, honey. I love you. I'm so glad you're here. Andy Masterson is a maker. He makes figures. Like, he makes superhero figures. He does custom stuff. Andy, I am so flattered that you are joining us this evening. Ever since you started following me on Twitter and I followed you back, I have learned about your interesting life and your amazing talent. It is so wonderful to have you here. And one day, yes, I have to set you up with Clobby so that you can show Clobby all the stuff that you've made. Wouldn't it be lovely to interview you, Andy? You're very talented. And David Serda just
David Serda.
Hey, David. Happy Thanksgiving.
Hey, David.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving, one and all. So I'm disappointed in my husband now.
Why?
And whomever made this comic where Superman dies I don't wish anyone violence. Everyone knows I'm not a violent person. But I do think that there should be some strong Alberta kicks coming to the shins for this one. This is terrible.
Let me tell you about this. This was just a dumb gimmick. Even your favorite buddy, the boob grabber, was doing. Harlan Ellison at the time was on Sci-Fi Channel, had a thing called Sci-Fi Buzz.
Okay.
And he did a hilarious. The video is funny, by the way. He used to do commentary on there, and he commented on this, and basically he talked about how it's just so ridiculous, just a stupid gimmick. So DC's comics killed Superman 3 times a year. They're just going to stretch this one out, as he said. We all knew they were going to stretch it out and then bring him back. You can't take anything seriously, as Claude even mentioned earlier in the chat. Max Landis, before he completely fallen out of favor, deservedly so, did a video many years ago called how this thing broke death. But the fact is, it was broken in terms of broke death in comic books, but it was broken long before that. Yeah. Because they're not going to really kill him for any length of time. It was just a gimmick grab, and that's why when I walked into my friend's shop, who was selling this, and I'd worked with sometimes, he had lines around the block. There were radio ads. This was huge for Superman for 75. The bagged one there, the with the blood on it, with all the stuff inside. Yeah, it was having to limit quantities. There were, again, everyone was waiting their turn. Well, he lets me in. I come in there. He said, "You can buy one." He said, "I didn't think you would want it, but I bought it." I ripped it out of the bag, and people would go, "Oh my God, you're not supposed to open that."
You're not supposed to open.
I took it out. And I said, "This is a bunch of crap." The only thing I liked was the black armband that came in with the Superman S. I thought that was kind of cool. And then I ripped the copy up and then put it back in the thing. I said, "This is garbage. Screw it. I don't care if it's worth anything. It's a stupid gimmick, and you're all just silly." And hey, I'm glad he made money on it for the promotion. But
you actually ripped up the comic?
Yep. I love you, Clobby.
I hate that crap. And that's, by the way, that's the John Byrne revamped stupid ass Superman. Anyway, it's not my Superman. So screw that.
This is where the grievance is born. All things are starting to come into focus now. This is why John Byrne is on the Clobby poop list.
I like a lot of Byrne stuff. I'm up and down. Our dear departed wonderful friend Mark C was a huge fan of this. He and I have had this argument. I hate John Byrne's 1986 reboot of Superman. I don't care who disagrees on it. So by the time they did this comic, it wasn't the Superman I love anyway. He'd already been said goodbye to by Alan Moore in 1985. Or 86, whatever. And it wasn't my Superman anyway. I didn't have a dog in the hunt. I just thought it was a silly gimmick. And so was Nightfall, folks. I know a lot of people who are much younger than me look back on this thing with rose-colored glasses, and that's great and all, but I hated that crap.
Well,
Not my
this is.
Superman.
I thought Nightfall was a much better story. This story was just you had this stupid monster that was basically like was a doomsday machine really with no brains, but not as well done. At least the doomsday machine is got a great story to it about. And Superman does sacrifice himself, but it's just they came up with this monster out of nowhere.
Wait a minute,
it was all powerful.
Phantom, I know Byrne wasn't on the book, but it was Byrne's Superman, so you can't play that game. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
See, this is why I bring this stuff up, folks. Sorry to interrupt you, Mark.
No,
Don't you
okay.
love all the arguing with the experts? I just love it when they're all so excited that Mark's talking, Clobby's talking, and Phantom Outsider's talking.
Sorry, Mark. I'm sorry, Mark.
That's okay. No. That's
no,
true.
not at all, honey.
I know what you meant. Yeah. But yes, but it was really not even a good story. Like Nightfall, I kind of like that. I like that story. That all the criminals getting out and breaking Batman down, but Superman, it just doesn't. It's lazy writing when you have to, kill a character to tell a good story. It's different from the death of Captain Marvel, where that's a poignant, heartfelt story, and it's great. That's a great. Well, it's not a trade paperback. That's actually a graphic.
Nightfall. You like Nightfall? I just didn't like it.
I like Nightfall, but that's
Batman getting his back broken. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, but but it's much. This story. I agree. I knew Superman was going to come back. They can't not bring Superman back. So it's. I wouldn't rip the issue up. That you got guts to do that back then when it was selling for that much money. Yeah. But that's the kind of time when you buy and sell and you dump it. When the price goes up. But that was all those one issue people. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Phantom. I wasn't snapping at you, bro. I just wanted to let you know that I realized it wasn't Byrne on the book, but it was his Superman. So I didn't want you to think I'm snapping at you. The only one I'll ever snap around here is Minimus.
Can we please go back to my friend Claude Parrish, my wonderful Mr. Parrish? He says, "This crap is what gave us Superman's black costume. You're welcome, Snyder."
True.
Mr. Parrish, I hope that you mean that in the same way that I'm receiving that, because I do not accept nor do I recognize Superman in a black costume. Superman's costume is not black. I'm very naive here, and I am a nerd. I'm not a geek, and I don't profess to be any type of comic book expert. But Superman's costume is not black, and those people need to be smacked around a bit.
Claude. Again, no, yeah, Phantom. I'm sorry if it sounded like I was snapping at you. I just wanted to get that. I just wanted to sneak that in there while Mark was talking, and I didn't want to. I hated to interrupt him there, so no. I'm only mad at John Byrne. I want to make that clear.
You didn't like Superman with a mullet? Come on.
Phantom Outsider, I love you because that it's good that you made that distinction. Yeah, Phantom says, "No, I knew that, Clobby, but sometimes we forget that Raquel doesn't know as much as we do yet." Laughing out loud. And Phantom, I love you, love you, love you. That is so true. And together, it is taking this village to raise this comic book child. So I'm very, very excited about everything you all have to say. I appreciate it so much.
Actually, I just want you to say Claude again.
Well, because it's such a romantic name, like Claude. It's a beautiful, beautiful French name. Am I incorrect in assuming that? Isn't Claude the anglicization of it? Yeah.
She lived in the south of France. Yep.
Yes.
Decepticon, I think Nightfall introduced the ninja elements to Batman through Night Quest. Or am I misremembering? I think it probably did. But I got to be honest with you. I didn't buy Nightfall because it was a gimmick that was following up in the footsteps of Death of Superman. And I don't believe Batman's back being broken just for some silly gimmick. So I wasn't down with it, to be honest. And Dark Shadow Logan, that would be correct. Byrne's Superman started with that stupid Man of Steel series in the mid-'80s. 1986, July 4th, 1986 is the starting point, to be precise. So,
I think some of those ninja elements started a little bit earlier. I don't know if you consider Ra's al Ghul ninja-like, but the League of Assassins and Tanya. I mean, they had some of those elements but I just typed it in. I think brought it to the forefront and really. It was Lady Shiva.
Yeah, that's brought it to the forefront.
May I
I
please
think-
interject? Please excuse me for 1 second, but the great Chris Persia is adding some nuance to this conversation and giving me something to consider. And I would like to hear what everyone in the group thinks of Chris Persia's comment. It's a very, very, it sounds like a very reasonable point to make. Chris says, I liked the black suit for what it was. It was Kal-El's death shroud, not his new suit. So this is a nuance that I have never heard before. And of course, we're going to hear it from the brilliant Chris Persia.
Yeah, he's right. It's that. I mean, and my buddy Loki likes it. And this font, some people like that. I just don't. I hate it. But to be fair, and again, here you got the key point of all this is nothing in that story is valid to me anyway, since it's not my Superman. So liking or disliking any element is not a big problem to me one way or the other, because I disavow all of it. It's just not the Superman that I love. My Superman was said goodbye to in 1986 by Alan Moore with Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow, which I'll be reviewing soon. So anything after that in the comics really is not my Superman of preference. He's not the golden, silver, or bronze age Superman. He's the burned super yuppie. So when they killed him, I was absolutely felt nothing, and I just laughed at the gimmick of it all. So, but I hear you, Chris.
And may I please ask Mark's feeling on that one? Mark, what did you think of Chris Persia's comment?
Well, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I think they've retconned the suit to like soak up the sun's rays later to help Superman heal.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like the Black Spider-Man, I can I know Clobberin Times hates the Black Spider-Man suit, and because Superman and Batman and Spider-Man, have those iconic colors on their costumes, and when maybe it makes more sense for Spider-Man to go after criminals with a black suit, but it's just not that happy-go-lucky character. Same thing with Superman; it's just too dark and depressing. But I can see that, yeah, if they dressed him in that just for the funeral. But then we got that, they kept going back to that well, and then Schneider brought that back. But quote unquote, it's supposed to be help him, absorb the sun's rays. But heck, he would do that and wear it black all the time if he needed to do that.
It offended a lot of people, though, even though I've now learned from Chris that there are folks that are strongly against it, strongly for it, and then there are people in the middle like Chris. But I absolutely love our resident professional comic book artist, Hungry Boy. I absolutely love his response to Chris. He says, I intellectually agree with Chris, but emotionally and as a freelancer, I loathe the whole deal, still pissing off decades later. Isn't it amazing what it's like to hear the wide spectrum of opinions on this? Yeah, I can't ever imagine Spider-Man in a black suit. It just seems so wrong to me. And for Spider-Man to blend in with criminals, it just seems rather silly to me, because Superman should stand out. Superman should return to Earth and be bright, and criminals should see him coming. He has no fear. He's going to take them out.
Right? Yeah, well, absolutely. I just want to answer Kal-El here. He says, I'm probably in a minority, but I enjoyed the story arc of Death of Superman and Return of Superman. Death and Return of Superman, as it seemed like a lot of people at the time, myself included, had taken Superman for granted. Well, not only do I agree with you, I would disagree with one point. You're not the minority. Most people really do like it. Remember, most people aren't old curmudgeons like me. Most people, you would, if you took a poll, you would have most people agreeing with you on that one, dude. And I respect many of them, including you. So, yeah, and because again, a lot of people started after I started. A lot of people don't care about the same things that I care about in terms of Superman and what Byrne did to him, in my opinion. And a lot of that's the time you grew up and what you grew up with, and and it's just that's just the way it is. And even I'm mostly hello there, Max Redstone. Good to see you, buddy. I'm mostly over at least the part of my anger about all that happened back in '86, all that revisionism that I was done with Crisis, especially post-Crisis. That I still don't like it, but because as the time has gone on, I've met a lot of people who came up, and considerably a few years after me that didn't have the same hangouts because they were from a different time in their formative years reading these comics, and they don't have the same, problems with a lot of the stuff that I do. So I've learned to go, well, I don't like it, but a lot of people did, and that's just I'm gonna have to live with it. It's still, it's not as horribly offensive as garbage like the Screw 52 or Identity Crisis, Brad Meltzer, and then some filth like that. But I still don't like it. But like I say, my dear friend Mark C. didn't love Superman nearly as long as I did, or at the same time, and he loved what Byrne did with it, and we never agreed on that. But many people do. So,
well, my husband has showed up, folks.
Yes.
And he says, "I'm so sorry to disappoint y'all." And he says, laughing out loud, "I wasn't much of a collector, more of a poser, really." Ha ha ha. No, actually, Andrew, I wish that you were here for the full discussion on this, because it's not that it's good or that it's bad. It's that there is a full spectrum of opinion on the direction they went with this. And earlier, Phantom Outsider was discussing with Mark and Clobby the fact that a lot of people believed that in purchasing this, they were going to pay for their kids' college funds.
Yep.
So, and Mark, you missed comments from Mark, D with the C, our friend Mark, and he was saying that that the prices have fallen dramatically, that they did reach the higher heights. Clobby was saying that people were lined up around the block to pick this thing up. So, Andrew, I just love that you have allowed me to open up your collection. I know you're not a big comic book collector, but I love that you allowed us to do this, because it's helping me and helping so many people in the community to not only express their feelings, but to educate everyone on comic books and comic book characters. So, hail to you, honey. Love you.
Yeah, good to see you there, buddy. Hey, look, I love that you were getting to see some of your comics collection. And like I say, you bought this. I don't know. You said you won it though, right? He said he won it at
Ooh, I didn't
one
know
of them
that.
he won. He said, "Yeah, in a draw in a comics store." Yeah, that's cool. Yep. Opened
Yeah,
it and read it immediately, to the dread of everyone. Don't open it. What are you doing? Open it.
Yeah.
Fantastic Four. A lot of comics have done that. Like FF, when spoiler, Johnny Storm died, and they had the cover, and it had a 3 on it. Was in a bag, and it's like, so you're supposed to buy one copy and keep it in the bag, and buy another copy that you could read. So
Yep. Very cool.
So they do that kind of stuff all the time. Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, I'm glad I pulled this out of the long box, and that we got to talk about this, because I learned so much. I think that this is just great, and I have some more when you guys are ready to move on. Not pressuring you to move on, because
no.
This detailed conversation
No,
where
that's
we're talking about the
important
artists,
issue in comics. Actually,
yes,
it's a historic issue, whether you hate it or like it. Yeah, it was in the pop. And it was, Superman's such a popular character. It was all over the news. Everyone was asking me about, did you hear they're killing Superman? Because I was like the comic guy around, with my friends, and even other parents are like, are you going to go to the store and get it? You're going to buy it? Or I'm like, well, the guy's supposed to give me a copy. If he doesn't, what the guy would do, sometimes they'd disappear, popular issues.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we sold out, even though it was on the pull list. It's like, well, wait a minute. You're supposed to go into my box first, and then you sell it. Like, the Wolverine Hulk one by McFarlane, the SOB, sold out for me, and I never got a copy of that with the Wolverine reflected in the Hulk's claws.
Yeah, the McFarlane.
So of course, what they do. He would sell, like, Ghost Rider went crazy back then in the late 90s, and people were coming in like, what are these people wearing suits coming into the comic book shop? The guy came in and bought up like all the Ghost Rider comics.
Yeah,
because Ghost Rider
that's when
took
it's
off.
Scary. Hey, that's when it's scary, when a bunch of guys in 3-piece suits, they're dressed like Irish mobsters, walk into the comic book shop, and they buy everything.
50 copies of Ghost Rider.
That's
and then
scary.
It all crashed a few months later. It wasn't, but that was supposed to be like the next big, that was when that wave of people, comics, and then I can't remember the year, but in the 90s there was a huge speculative market. And, people are buying everything up, and it's like, I'm just buying these because I enjoy them,
Yeah.
And that's
Phantom Outsider, you're exactly right. Identity Crisis was evil crap. But yes, and Sean, yes, they did spend a lot of post-crisis on doing Byrne's vandalism, but Not to my liking, but they did. You're right, buddy.
So many tough words, so much
And
tough
then
talk. I love it.
I have another really important question for Thanksgiving. We can keep this
Okay.
going through the show, but jellied or whole cranberry sauce? So I got a Twitter poll up, so I can put the link in, so everyone go vote. But just it's a joke I've run because like
I voted.
My wife and everyone makes like this fancy cranberry sauce. I'm like, I just want the cranberry sauce jellied in the can. I don't want any of this fancy stuff. Like these fancy recipes with all these the cranberries.
Good.
No, I hate that. I want my jellied cranberry sauce. So it's a joke. Like every year I get in the can. I don't like that. There's all these highfalutin, Food Network recipes, cranberries. They put all this stuff in it. It's like, come on.
Yeah, but what about this Scandinavian lingonberry sauce? That stuff's good.
I want my can. It's like I want my cheese whiz, right, from Ghostbusters.
Yes, you want your cheese in a can. It's not good.
I want my. So we'll see what the poll at the end of the show how the poll's doing. It's pretty close right now.
I'm not gonna lie. Cheese in a can would be really good on super expensive crackers with caviar and champagne. That cheese in a can, it has its uses.
Hey boy, you got my cheese whiz?
Oh man. Let's see here. Oh, sorry, Kalel, dude. At that point, I did not read that Hunter Prey because I wasn't even buying the comic regularly for years. When the Death Huff came out, and there was a whole gigantic chunk after Xerox Hour, which I hated. I almost didn't pick up a DC book for 12 years. I hated everything they were doing in the 90s. I just couldn't stand it. So no, sir, I'm afraid I've not read that. Just not my era. I didn't go back until Jeff Johns fixed what they did to Hal Jordan in 2004.
That was a great epic run with Green Lantern. Wow.
Yeah.
Jeff Johns. Yep.
Yep. Yeah. By the way, I like that name. That was it? Hungry Boy gave it Clobby'S Curmudgeons.
I want to be a Clobby'S curmudgeon.
You're in.
I want to be a part of that.
You're in. You're in.
I love it. Thank you so much, honey. I always want to be in every club you're in because you're the best. Hey, I have tried behind the scenes to convince Max Redstone to make a Clobberin Times, a Saturday Night Star Trek limerick book. And I believe, I'm not going to get too far ahead of him, but I believe he may have taken up the challenge. I believe there may be a Clobberin Times Saturday Night Star Trek limerick book coming in the future, and it's going to be hysterical.
Oh wow! I'm looking forward to that as well.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be awesome.
What are the comics?
Okay, so yes, all right. So remember, everyone at home, I'm a bit of a nincompoop here. I'm a total noob, and I'm not even a geek. I don't collect anything. I don't know anything about films. I'm basically like, the only thing I'm good for is academics and books. So don't throw fruit at me. Put down your fruit. Do not peel me or draw and quarter me in the center of the square. Okay, I picked this out of the box because it looked so weird, and it's definitely not something I would ever read. It looks terrible. Let's talk about it. It's called Lobo, and it's a DC comic, and he has 1, 2, and they're all bagged and boarded. 3.
Oh my goodness.
4 of these things, and they look like a slice of insanity. They look absolute shite. Please tell me about Lobo. So the first one I have, oh my goodness, Clobby, honey, he has another one of these 5 packs, 1 of 5, 2 of 5, 3 of 5, 4 of 5. Oh no, this one's 4. 1 of 4, 2 of 4, 3 of 4, 4 of 4. So it's a 4-pack. And yes, look at that crap on the right-hand side. Just absolute shite.
I'm not a big Lobo guy, but he's very popular. So once again, I'm going to be probably going against the crowd here. So what you got? Do you have any which one? There were specials, there were regular issues, there were.
So what you have
miniseries.
on the right-hand side, darling, that's exactly what I've got. And then I've got 2 of
thought
4,
so.
3 of 4, and 4 of 4. And they
Think-
all say they're all a month long. So they start in November, they end in February.
Mhm.
They were sold in the US for $1.50 each,
One
Canada
of
for
four.
$1.85, and the UK
Yes.
for 80p. And he does have that same sticker in the, or not sticker, the same thing in the right-hand side.
Yeah, this was the miniseries from
Yep.
for I guess I don't know what, early
1990.
90s or something, 90 something, whatever. Okay.
1990.
Yeah,
Yep.
he Lobo is a character. All right, as I've spoken many times about how when Marvel C, Marvel do works in both ways. There's also DC C, DC do. In other words, Marvel and DC have, for lack of a better term, ripped each other off for years. If Marvel gets a character that they think that is really successful, that is a badass, whatever he is, they're going to rip him. Marvel had Wolverine. He was their big anti-hero, badass, kind of a character or something like that. And DC didn't really have one. So we get Lobo. Is he exactly like Wolverine? No. But I'm just saying that's what they were going for. The bad boy, the anti-hero, with a more of a humorous slant. He's not serious as Wolverine or anything like that.
Little Deadpool thrown in.
Yeah, way before there was a
Mark,
Deadpool.
as Clobby speaks to this issue, would you do me a favor? Would you please check the name origin, or perhaps because you're also an expert, the etymology of Lobo? What is Lobo from? What is the name origin, and what is the meaning?
Well, is it something to do with a wolf or something? I know he first
appeared.
Yeah.
It's like it's exactly the 100% rip off of Wolverine. I mean, you might not, as a kid, you might not notice it, but you just look at his face and the smirks that he gives, and he's a total,
a very comical version of him.
Comical badass. He's kind of like in Deadpool in a lot of ways too. I would think
way before Deadpool was really
Deadpool,
silly,
but
though. Yeah.
That kind of spirit, I guess you'd say.
Okay, so, Hungry Boy's saying that Lobo is Spanish for wolf. Yeah, because I was like, that's an awful lot like lichen. And so I was thinking, lichen, why Lobo and lichen? And it is Spanish for wolf. So thanks to the great artist who is here anonymously, Hungry Boy. Thank you, sweetheart.
Like Shane said, I mean, he had a healing factor power. Where do you think that came from? Wolverine. So yeah, a little too on the nose. He was an alien, though, of course. An alien bounty hunter who could basically slug it out with that Superman. He was pretty powerful in that sense. Mm-hmm. He is completely amoral. A lot of his comics were played for laughs. I think he first appeared in Omega Men or something like that.
Yeah, Omega Men. Of course, I have it up. But Omega Men number 3. So 83. So Wolverine. When was Wolverine introduced? 77, 78, or
Wolverine was like 75.
75.
76,
okay,
74, 75.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was, again, this was just, Wolverine had blown up in the 80s. He became Marvel. You could argue that he almost became a bigger trademark for Marvel than Spider-Man, or right up there with him. If they wanted to sell a comic, they'd stick Wolverine's stupid face on it. Mm-hmm. They'd stick Wolverine in there. And Lobo will never had the popularity of Wolverine nor the longevity, but he was, again, comics were going a darker route at that point anyway, even though
I can tell that.
Humor. And I like Simon Bisley's art. I guess it's just kind of an ugly type of it's a darker type of a style.
Yeah,
but
it's evil. It feels evil.
Right.
I don't like it, but
it's edgy, and that was popular at the time. Popular now, I guess. And so Lobo was a pretty big hit.
Yeah.
As far as he became popular. I never liked him, but a lot of people did.
Keith Giffen says, I have no idea why Lobo took off. I came up with him as an indictment of this Punisher Wolverine hero prototype, and somehow he caught on as the high violence poster boy. Go figure.
Yeah. Yep.
He later stated that both Lobo and Ambush Bug were derived from Lunatic, a character he created in high school. And Lobo was the favorite DC Comics character of Stan Lee, allegedly. Who the heck knows? I doubt it.
So what attracted me to this little series that he has is that Of course, I don't have the same taste as a man, and I certainly don't have the same taste as any geek. But everyone around here in our little group, in our community, realizes that I'm more of a gold key kind of person. I really like Perez, and I like old art and old stories, and this more achieving higher art and the color, and just I don't know that.
You like this.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing I really appreciate. So I'm not down on anyone who likes Lobo. I realize that a lot of people like Lobo, but for me, like obviously Clubby and Mark are two of my friends from real life, and they could definitely tell everyone in the community why I don't like these without me even saying so. And that is just the violence. Like, to me, the images are too dark and it's too violent. So but very interesting, very interesting. So any other comments on this series, folks? How much did it cost? And everyone else in the chat, any thoughts on Lobo? You love Lobo?
Hungry Boy, by the way, yeah, I liked Bisley on Shane. I mean, on Slain. I liked Slain, and he's a good artist. It's just which wasn't much of a Lobo guy.
Yeah.
Well, this series was really, the character took off in the early '90s when this came out. I mean, it did sell a lot of books. So and he became popular. He was actually on the show Krypton live action a few years back. So he's not. He'll never be as popular as Wolverine, but he's kind of that anti-hero, and he's definitely got fans out there. That love that violent, and then the humor. It's a fun character. I have to say, it's a crazy off the wall character.
Yeah,
but,
he's meant to be, and there's the thing that I actually give him credit for. He was even though he was meant to be at least funny and the spoofy, like Giffen said. I have a lot of problems with Giffen in some ways, but he was trying to be funny rather than go over the top and be a character to be taken seriously. In his defense, even though I didn't like it.
Yeah, well, Andrew has to let me know when things are going to be violent, and he watches right through all the violence, and he laughs, which is hysterical because my husband is like a big bear of a man. He looks like a Viking, and so when the violent stuff happens on the screen, he'll laugh and he'll say, "Yeah, honey, don't look." And he's giggling. He thinks it's funny. Me, I would have nightmares for years and years. So I have to make sure that he's screening all of the violence for me. So I probably could not even crack Lobo, whereas Andrew would probably laugh.
So you're not watching zombie movies, yeah?
Oh God, no, I'm not watching zombie movies. Are you kidding me? That would never
Walking
happen.
Dead's not on your list, yeah?
No. That's a solid no.
But I loved Grimjack, Dark Shadow Logan, by the way. At least the Truman one, the Australia Truman ones, and the main Grimjack, of course. The John Gaunt Jim Grack. I wasn't into the Joe Twilly one that much, but I know you'll know what I'm talking about. So yes, so there's Lobo. What else? Lobo. What else you got? Unless you got more of that. Zax, you Hulk villain. What's up?
Hey, sweetheart. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Lobo cashed in on trends of the day and was successful. What are the trends of today that would catapult a character to stardom? Probably none. Yeah,
love you.
Good point, Sean. Good point, buddy. So what else you got in that box there?
Okay, so here's another pick that I have from tonight. It's my final pick for tonight. It's not the end of the box, but this is my final pick. So this is, imagine me being at Clobby'S comic book store, and I'm looking at some of the more obscure stuff as a nerd, and I am curious. So here's a set that piqued my curiosity. More of this very, very overt violence, but I don't know, there's something about it. It seems like this art is I don't know what to say about this art. It's freaking me out. Let's look up something called Pit. P-I-T-T.
Dale Keown, The Pit, yeah. It was Image Comics, and Keown did Hulk for a while, and The Pit was pretty popular. Let's see here. You got to make sure you do your search correctly to make that pull up, because it could mean anything. Yeah, there you go. All right, so yeah,
okay. So he has won 2 and 3, Clobby, and he may have more in the box, I'm not sure, but I was blown away by just how violent the imagery was, but also very it doesn't have a serious tone to it. There's so much exaggeration that you can almost tell that there are some aspects of humor to it. When you're looking at the 2nd of July issue, you can see what I'm saying. This sort of with the little boy. It's a very odd circumstance, because you have this very exaggerated violence, and then it's almost that when you look at the other covers, it's almost like a comedic, I want to say.
Yeah, well, it's not a book I ever picked up because it was imagey. Let's see what I would have got into Pitt if it came out right. That's another thing. That's a good point, Sean. It was one of these comics that by the Image creators. Image was formed by a bunch of guys who kind of defected from Marvel.
Okay.
In the late 90s, when they were making some pretty big sellers for Marvel, doing the X-Men stuff. You had Jim Valentino, Rob Liefeld, Jim Lee, Mark Silvestri, a few others. Names are just eluding me at the moment. Todd McFarlane, of course. And they started their own company, and it was Images was for creator-owned comics. In other words, they weren't, if you owned your own creation, that's great.
You want to get shafted like some
but
people.
You didn't.
Yeah,
and that is great. You own your own creation, but also you didn't have an editor breathing down your neck for deadlines, and therefore your comics just came out whenever the hell they felt like coming out. And these guys were slow.
Yeah.
And like the subsequent said, he might have got into the Pit because Keown had made a name for himself drawing the Hulk, and as you can see, he almost looks like a crazy looking Hulk.
Yeah.
It would have been more popular if the damn thing had come out on time. It was a book that, to my understanding, because I didn't bother, it didn't interest me. I didn't buy it at that point. I was not buying a lot of that stuff. I didn't buy much in the way of Image unless Alan Moore was writing it, and there was sometimes. Eric Larson was another one. There you go. I can't stand Eric Larson, Phantom Outsider. But anyway, so a lot of those books, I mean, obviously they sold well, but a lot of people just got tired of waiting for these things.
Yeah, it was
also
6
the fact
months.
that young boys, I can see them being attracted to this. They love heavy metal. Maybe they have a Megadeth T-shirt, and they're into all of that. Maybe they have an Iron Maiden T-shirt, and this is before CGI. So this must have really must have seemed tantalizing to young boys who were looking for something that was a little bit edgy, that would make them seem a little bit more adult. And if you can't achieve that with an Iron Maiden T-shirt, maybe you can achieve that with a comic. And like I said, prior to the prolific use of CGI. So I can definitely understand the mentality. I really, really like what one of our comic book experts has said here in the chat, and it's gone. But he was speaking to the demographic and the psychographic, which of course appeals to me as an editor and an author and as a nerd. He said something about the fact that when dealing with a certain age group, you were thinking all muscle and teeth. He said something to that effect, and that comment is gone. I think it was Decepticon who said it, but here it is. Pit was just muscles and teeth, carefully calculated for 13-year-olds. I love this idea.
Well said, sir. That's great.
Yeah, of pulling apart the psychographic of each one of these books and these characters. So Decepticon, what a great comment.
He's another great one too. Another great one too. Image needed agents to handle the merchandise and an editor-in-chief to handle the regular output. They had that's what happens when your creator owns. You don't have to answer to anybody, which is great. You get to keep your creation. But as Hungry Boy so insightfully points out, a lot of the Image guys didn't put in the hours per day because a lot of their issues sold over 200,000 per issue, and they made their rent for the year. Very good point.
Wow! So a bit like the guys who work up north in the oil field, they make their money on these finite contracts, and then they don't have to work for the rest of the year. So wow, I love this insider stuff. Of course, Hungry Boy being our professional published comic book artist here, who is appearing here for obvious reasons. He has to be anonymous. So great insight there from Hungry Boy. Just love it. Thank you.
The Comic Relief Crusader says, Dale Keown, a fellow Albertan. There you go. And this Rod
Hey,
Thunderheart. What's up, buddy?
hey, Alberta.
Oh, Rod.
Nice to see you, honey.
Yeah. But yeah, again, I mean, Keown, I mean, I thought his Hulk was okay. I don't know. What about you? Did you buy this thing, Mark?
I
Were
didn't
you
buy
buying?
this.
Were you buying a lot of Image stuff? I didn't buy much
I didn't
Image.
buy a lot of Image. This was 93.
Yeah.
And I was just looking up. Issue 1 and 2 came out 6 months apart. So if you're gonna 1 and 2,
Wow.
you want to get momentum. Hey, if you're a reader, And then the next issue came out was July of 93. The next issue came out in February of 94.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
So and
Neat.
then so then 1294. Yeah, so they're I don't even remember if this book was good or not,
Well-
but if you're gonna put it out every
lot of
randomly.
Yeah, and it's still sold, but the thing is, I would have a lot of people. Hey, when's that new issue of the Pit coming out? Now that's something that's happened to comic. Hey, Steve Mitchum, good to see you, brother.
Steve Mitchum's here.
Yeah, hey man.
Oh, Maddie's daddy. Hi, honey.
See, thing is, that happened a lot with comics in the 80s and the 90s, where some of the best ones were, the 2, 3, 4, 5 months between issues. Sometimes more than that. I could name you some series. I mean, I think the record's probably still Planetary, even though that started in the late 90s and ended in 2000. Planetary, for example, to give you an example, great comic, messed up comic, really sick but great. Started around 1997, right? I want to say. I'm ballparking. Probably.
Yeah.
There were 27 issues and about 4 or 5 different specials. It took for 27 issues. Now, I'm no mathematical expert, by the way. The series finally ended in 2000. I want to say 10 or 11, somewhere up in there, 12. I remember when every time an issue of Planetary would come out, I go, oh, Planetary came out. What the hell happened in that last issue that I read 2 years ago?
Yeah.
I'd have to backtrack almost every time and go back and read it.
Yeah.
I forgot what the hell's happened in this comic. It's a
Yeah,
great
yeah.
comic. But Jesus Christ, I'm like, wow. And now if you ask me what happened, I'd have to go back and just binge it all. But when you buy them month to month and a comic takes that long, and that's
Yeah.
the extreme
You
example.
you're losing your audience.
Big time. That's the extreme example, but there are a lot of comics that were like that.
Well, I never
Well,
remember
we're
the,
seeing some people in the chat saying that they liked Pitt, and that they're sort of echoing and amplifying the things you're saying, Clobby, which is the fact that they would have liked to have seen how it ended. And the great Chris Persia has agreed with me in the visual imagery. Yeah, Chris, it totally strikes me as a creature that's a mashup of Hulk and Iron Maiden's mascot Eddie. Yeah, I 1000% that's this what I thought the second I picked it up. It's quite remarkable, the likeness, isn't it? So thank you for the comments, everyone. Keep them coming. I just absolutely love these discussions.
Yeah.
Well, I would say the Ultimate Wolverine versus Hulk series by that famous Lost writer Damon Lindelof and Francis Yu, and that series. I remember I bought the first 2, and then issue 3 I think came out a year later or more. So then they finally canceled until they had all the issues done and in the bag. But it was, imagine buying 2 issues. It was a joke in the store. Like every time we'd come in, we'd like, is Ultimate Wolverine versus Hulk out yet? And after a while, he's like, could you cut it? It's been a year. Knock it off. The joke is old now.
Yeah. This was let's see. Did you watch back? Oliver Belmonte said you watched back and then Image Comics TV series of Spawn, Savage Dragon, and the Max. Did we watch those? I didn't watch them that much. I never liked any of those series much. I liked Wildcats and the Alan Moore issues, but I never, again, sacrilege these days, but I never liked Spawn. I won't tell you what I did to my issue number 2, and because that really aggravates people. 1 and 2.
I never got into those either. I watched the Spawn movie. I have a few Spawn action figures, but just never really got into it either.
Isn't it remarkable though, the difference in taste? When I think of my favorite issue of Star Trek Gold Keys, and I think what is my favorite issue? My favorite issue is like what, 5? I think it's 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just see what Decepticon was saying, meat and teeth, and you put these side by side, and it is amazing to me the massive spectrum of interests and tastes involved with comic book collecting and reading, and certainly the art and craft of comics as well. Just so different from one person to the next.
Yeah, that's a good point, Dark Shadow. I guess the that Ultimate Hulk versus Wolverine thing, which didn't interest me anyway, might give Planetary a run for its money because it was shorter series and it never concluded. Yeah, Planetary did have an ending.
No, it did. It did. Yeah, so what they did, they canceled.
Oh, you said I'm not sure if it. Gotcha.
Yeah. So they canceled, and they said we're not releasing them until we have all the issues in the bag, quote unquote. And then it was 3.5 years after the first comic came out was the final issue. So, but I have them all. That's how I know. But it wasn't a bad series. But yeah.
A good point made by Decepticon. Every Image character was a ripoff of somebody popular, except maybe Larson's childhood creation, Savage Dragon. I think Savage Dragon's kind of it was a childhood creation, but it was kind of course, I hate Larson, but yeah, but they're all rip. I mean, yeah, these guys had made a name for themselves at Marvel, and then just went over to their own little company and started it out. And
no middlemen, right? So yeah, I mean, we were talking about David Aja and Fraction on Hawkeye. If they created their own characters, you get your creator own. So you get paid. So a lot of people are mad, but it's like that's in their. I want these artists to make money and creators, but that's in the contract they signed. So
but look at it though, dude. Yeah. Look at this though. When they did that, they made a good bit of enough money for themselves to set themselves. What did they do? Less than 10 years later, they went back to Marvel with that horrible Heroes.
Heroes!
Garbage.
Oh my God!
And let's face it,
all the Fantastic Four issues are so horrible.
All of them were horrible. Let's face it though, with all these Image characters, I don't like Spawn, but he's the only one that's still going now that's popular. Is there a Wildcats series I mean, they still make Wildcats? If they do, no one hears about it. I know Eric Larson still makes his crap. But are they
Savage
popular?
Dragon's still out.
It's still not as popular. Wildcats. What are some of the other ones that did? Cyber Force. All these other ones. Did they ever reach the popularity of the Marvel characters or DC characters? They didn't.
Okay, so let's tap the brakes here for a second because I think my husband's leaving. He says, "Okay, bye. Going to eat some lunch." And frankly, I've been reminded enough of how lousy I was at collecting comics, laughing out loud. At least I knew when to quit. Ha ha ha. He's totally kidding. My husband is such a funny and wonderful person. But I just want to go back to something that Decepticon was saying about the tone and the source material for Image Comics, and that was these parodies or these spin-offs. I think that is a really that is a moment that should resonate within this community for those of you who are in the audience who are just beginning to learn about comics, because I did not know that about Image Comics. So now every time, and of course Mark and Clobby agreed, and all the other comic book experts took no exception to this comment made by Decepticon. So that's telling me that that's a general consensus. So now, whenever I go into this comic book universe, I'm going to remember and be keen to look at the Image Comics and sort of think to myself, what's happening here? Is this Hulk with more meat and teeth? What spin-off is this? So that was such a great comment and such an insightful comment and a really great learning moment for everyone who enjoys comics. So thank you for that one, Decepticon. Love, love, love it. So Image Comics is about sort of recasting things in a sly way. It's a sleight of hand. It's the bigger stuff done differently, sometimes to a parody level. Love it, love it.
And none of them were great artists, in my opinion. None of them were very good storytellers, really. Most of them weren't, in my opinion, anyway. And my point was not that those characters completely disappeared. Like Phantom, I know they still make Wildcats and stuff like that. My point is, they never got to the popularity level of any of the Marvel or DC books or anything like that, and never will. Characters and never will. But they did serve one purpose. They made their creators, quote unquote, creators who are not that creative, most of them, in my opinion, rich. And so they serve their purpose. They're never going to be and again, Spawn's the only one that comes close to any great popularity that lasted, even though I don't even like Spawn. Orville Nation, PJ, thank you so much.
PJ!
I hope you're had a wonderful Thanksgiving, Orville Nation. Thank you for that super chat. I appreciate you.
Happy Thanksgiving, my friend. So good to see you. Thank you so much for supporting
Thank you
the
so
show
much.
and supporting this channel. You're just wonderful. Great to see you, PJ. I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yep. Absolutely. But yeah, that's also true. Valentino did lift Dark off for Silverhawk. Yeah, I mean, I just never look. This is pretty much what you see here is how vapid I thought Image was at the time, and even when they would bring Alan Moore in to pump up the sales a little bit to write a Violator story or even a Spawn issue or some of the other stuff, they weren't all that good. His Wildcats was pretty good though. His Supreme, he took a garbage Superman ripoff by Rob Liefeld and made Supreme a great character. And so there was some stuff great by Image, 1963 and Supreme, but not by the main guys. Not, Alan Moore had to come in to give them any kind of good comic. Just for me, I know people like Spawn for some reason.
Yep.
But
Andy has so much Spawn and I'm going to be picking from the long box. I'm going to be choosing things that I think each and every week on Clobby'S Clubhouse. I will be choosing things that I think are interesting, freaky, repulsive, anything I can find that will be a learning moment or a very interesting point of conversation. And yes, I do enjoy teasing my husband, but at the same time, I want to make it clear that there's nothing wrong with liking Lobo and Pitt and any of this stuff. I know some of you out there do, but it's also very important to listen to what professionals have to say about the art and the actual physical craft of making these comic books and what they think about these things. And certainly what it does is it opens up the floor to talk about all the different types of comics, what goes into a comic, what makes a comic a good comic for one person might not be what makes a good comic for another person. So I would like to thank my husband Andrew for providing us with the material to learn about this. I think it's terrific.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you for that too.
Yep.
Yeah. And it was Raquel picking on you, not us. We were being nice.
It was 100% me picking on you. But Clubby, if you could just put up that image again of what I like. Just one? Wait 1 second. I'll just get the number. Hold on. Two wags of the dog's tail.
Oh, it was just this one here, right? Oh, we could definitely look at more Trek comics.
Yeah.
That one?
Okay, so it's the one that doesn't have.
What number is that?
It doesn't have a number on it. Also doesn't have the date. It's the Marvelous one. That's the 25 center with the creature that looks like Cthulhu or like an octopus. Anyways, that's my ultimate favorite.
You said that was number 5 that you liked, or you don't remember?
I think it's 5, honey. I do. I think it was
number 5, right?
Yeah, I think it might be 5, but I think I'm getting mixed up with the Marvel ones. The ones I don't like are the DC ones. I like the Marvel ones, but the Gold Key ones are just fab. Just absolutely beautiful. But I like the high art in comics. The high art in comics is just beautiful.
Well, the one that was just up was number 13 with Spock.
Right.
Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. You said one with like a Cthulhu monster on the cover?
Yes. It's like a Cthulhu monster, like a giant squid or an octopus, and it's green and its legs are kind of hairy.
Oh, yeah. Hungry Boy, I would never show her Faust. Vigil's Faust makes me sick. So, no.
Oh, my goodness. Yes. Nothing vile. Nothing vile, please.
I could tell you a horror story about 90s comics. I used to call them the vile 90s, and when I was in the 90s, and I called them that because I was talking about how horrible the comic industry had become. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure. I was about to tell a story about how disgusting comics were in the 90s, and I'm not so sure I should do it on the air. I'll have to tell you about it later. Well, I'm not even. It's kind of because it kind of entails like a really tragic personal story of a friend of mine that I was helping out with. Basically. Wow. I guess I could do it in a roundabout way. A lady friend of mine that I was working with in the 90s that I was very close with. We were very good friends. Beautiful lady, good pal. And she started dating this dude that, because she and I were good friends, she wanted me to like every time when she would date somebody, we worked together, and she wanted me to like him. I said, I don't give it. Why do you care if I like him? But turned out this guy actually bought comic books at the same place I did that I used to work for. A friend of mine owned the shop and everything. So to get us to bond, to be buddies, she introduced us one day and we started talking. He was older than me, I think, actually, at the time. This is the 90s. And this guy, we had nothing in common. I don't care if we both bought comics. He bought when he told me the stuff he buys, because at the time there was a lot of really foul, horrible shit in the 90s, and there was alternative comics that were, let's just say, they were just, Mark, you guys remember the big the boobs and the TNA comics of the 90s?
Yeah.
Big warrior women that were just,
Yep.
I'm as big a perv as the next guy, but there was no substance to them. They were just all these comics that were either extremely violent, like Vigil's Faust, or they were just about a bunch of or they were just about that. They were just TNA stuff. If you kind of see what I'm talking about, there were some of them were black.
Well, back then they would have like the Marvel. The Marvel would have like a Marvel swimsuit edition.
No. I'm talking about.
I know, but I'm just saying in general, like that was
not that.
Very, I know, but I'm just saying that. Like even Marvel tried to, get in a little bit into the, with like the swimsuit, nothing like that, but like that was that was popular back then.
But these were hyper violent.
Yeah.
A lot of them were some black and white titles, some not. Vigil's Faust is one. It's difficult to explain. I would have to pull them up, but they were all comics that none of them were superhero stuff. None of them were mainstream. They were just hyper violent, just junk, grade Z junk that had no stories. It had just crappy art with, I had a buddy of mine who was a comic artist at the time that drew some of those comics. And he said, it's a living. And I said, fine. And this guy was into all these things. I mean, he collected all these things. He had tons and tons of them. And she thought we were going to be buddies because he bought comics. And he bought really, I think you know where I'm coming from. I didn't get those. The really bad stuff, the ugly, whatever. I'm not saying Lady Death is like that, but they're that kind of stuff. What was it? What was one of those ones? They were just chick comics that had nothing to them other than they were hot chicks on the covers and on the insides with multiple covers, and some of them were extremely violent. Yeah, Danzig. Yeah, it's a lot of garbage. But anyway, fine if you like that. Well, actually, I don't know. So
I don't know.
I love you, Clobby.
We didn't bond. The guy didn't know who Jack Kirby was or Gil Kane was. Didn't know a comic artist to save his life unless he drew that smut crap. And yet he was a hardcore. I'll give you an example. A few months after they were divorced, let's put it like that, she had boxes and boxes of his stuff that he had left there, and she wanted to get rid of him because she wanted me to look at him for her. I didn't know how much horrible stuff this guy had bought. And I'm looking through these boxes, and I'm getting sick to my stomach of these comics in there. I mean, not just because I don't like them. It's not like I'm looking at comics and I think I'm turning my nose up because I think they're crap. These are just repulsive. Just horrible trash that are not so borderline porn, but just violent, ugly stuff. No super stuff. And all of a sudden, in this crap, she doesn't understand why I'm going. This is good. And I come across a Green Lantern comic. So what is this in here for?
How'd that
get in here?
What happened?
And I said, it was a Joe Staton issue of Green Lantern, and open up, and he's got all these fakey certificates of authenticity on all these comics that he got signed. I said, well, these don't mean crap. He could have had these made because he doesn't know no one cares about this stuff. So this one had one, and I said, wait. So I open it up. This is a Green Lantern comic from the early '80s. That is Hal Jordan Green Lantern, mind you. And it has Martin O'Dell's signature on it. If you see what I'm saying, Phantom. And I said, well, what is it doing on here? She said, oh, yeah, we were on some trip, and there happened to be the small mini con at this hotel. And he went and he got this signed by the creator of Green Lantern. I said, wrong. Wrong. He's a moron. So what do you mean? This is Martin O'Dell. He created the Golden Age Green Lantern. This is Hal Jordan. He didn't create him. The name, yeah. But he didn't, and he has a certificate. Yeah, he got him to sign a book without this character in it. He is a moron. Of course, his tastes are shitty. He's a scumbag. That's she left him, and he's also such a freaking idiot. He doesn't know the first thing about comics.
Right.
That was just disgusting. I mean, there were a couple times, I'm not going to go into things I threatened him sometimes, other serious things that happened in the relationship. Just suffice to say, this guy had the most horrible taste I've ever seen. And there were a lot of really disgusting, lousy, filthy comics that don't deserve to be called comics. I hope she burned them.
Yeah.
I told her to burn them. So they're not worth anything. Burn them. And, she's not listening to this. I don't know. But I mean, that was a long time ago, but I'm sorry.
Well, there's a difference between
That was the
creating
90s.
art and writing your name on a bathroom wall. So if you wrote your name, if you did something tantamount to writing your name on a bathroom wall, then it should be scrubbed away from society.
Yeah, he signed a name. I mean, the guy asked him to sign it, and Mark Nordell was old at the time, Phantom. I mean, what are you going to do?
He's going to be nice and sign anything too.
Alan Scott wasn't in that comic, but yeah, the name, sure, the name. Even the series number, but Alan Scott wasn't in there. My point being, anybody who actually knew anything about Green Lantern wouldn't get him to sign that.
Yeah.
Let's see, Lady Rawhide. That's similar along those lines. Decepticons, just put it like that. It's really difficult to explain. Yeah, but he had a lot of Faust, by the way, Hungry Boy. Tim Vigil's Faust drivel. But he had a lot of hyper-violent, ugly stuff, not just like, porn stuff. Anyway, I'm sorry to go off on that, everyone. But that's the idea of really ugly trash that they were doing in the 90s that were just. Not as bad as the sludge they do today. It's a different kind of bad, but.
Zax, I'm getting the impression that Clobby doesn't like Faust.
I don't know. Some people
Faust.
like it. Yeah. No, I like the actual real story, but the comic book Faust, no. There's a difference. Not Tim Vigil's. There you go. Anyway, no. Sorry, go ahead. So what do we got now going on? What are we doing?
So that's all I have for this week. I will pick more, but that covers this week. So they killed Superman, and that person should be kicked plenty of times.
Yep.
Then there's this thing called Lobo, made by DC. It's just Iron Maiden meets Wolverine.
Heavy metal.
And then we have Pit, which is just Iron Maiden meets Hulk. And it's really all shite. All of it. Sorry, but it was interesting.
Now I feel bad that we made Andy feel bad. Andy, and sorry.
Oh,
man.
goodness,
Sorry,
no. Andy is like a big, strong bear of a man who has a wicked sense of humor. And he thought that it would be great for me to use these comic books to just as great conversation starters. So he's not looking to have his feelings validated or anything like that. These comics have been sitting out in the garage for forever and a day, so he doesn't even care about them. But they're just great conversation starters, and they're just wonderful trips to the past to discuss these different issues surrounding comic book creation and comic book consumption. And so marvelous. Had a blast. Thank you so much to everyone in the chat for their insight, and of course my two marvelous friends and my Star Trek soulmate.
Thank you.
Well, what about Star Trek comics? Did you say you had something you wanted to talk about this week, or no?
No, I don't have any of those. I have discussed all of the Star Trek comics I have, and I cannot wait to get more. Oh, hi. Like, those are my kind of Star Trek comics.
I dedicated that one to you this week and to this one, by the way.
Beautiful. Oh, look at this. Just absolutely gorgeous. Look at the faces. Yep. Just, look at Rod Sterling.
Good old George Wilson.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah, well, what can you do? Now, Mark reviewed a comic this week. Well,
as
soon as I read that one, maybe we can
talk about that one.
Yeah.
That's the new Thing miniseries that's out. So issue 1 was out. It's a six-part series. So it's the first, I think, solo Thing series since maybe 2003, or it's been a while since he's had a series. So maybe there's one. I think Slott had one too, right? Didn't Slott have an?
He did before he turned insane. It was a regular series. Before he went nuts, he
Yeah.
actually wrote a good comic, and now he's poo-poo. But yeah.
Yeah, he's
So-
blocked both of us. Yeah,
Yes, he has. We're both blocked by him. Don't you feel
it's a
good?
badge of honor.
Hey, how many of you guys can brag that you're blocked by Dan Slott?
You know, I
Show
almost went to
hands.
see him at Comic-Con a couple of years ago, and was like, I was tired. I'm like, oh, I just should get him to, get a sign an issue of FF or something, even though, and the guy blocked me. It's like, how are you gonna, like, if you have customers, you're gonna block them? It's like, that's not real smart, especially when I never interacted with the guy too. He was just using
Me either.
blockchains, I guess, to just, I could see if you called them, some
I
foul
called him what I
language.
wanted to call him. Yeah, it would
Yeah,
be
yeah, but
different.
at least, come on, let me get the satisfaction of that.
Yeah. Wow. Come
But
on.
it's like,
Let me get
I don't
blocked
know
for
what-
a good reason.
I don't know why these companies allow these creators to go run roughshod on Twitter and Facebook and social media. It's like,
Yeah,
just
they're dumb.
keep your mouth shut. And if you want to, have political statements, if you want to have them. But I mean, if most of us who work for companies, if we started doing that and hurting, company sales or fighting with customers and telling them to, they're idiots or morons, it's not going to go over so well with the boss.
Well, that's my issue. I mean, my issue is, as it's not freedom of speech. It's also just decorum. Have comport yourself with dignity and decorum when you're representing a brand. And so many people now look at their social media as a place to cultivate their own personal branding. And so we have a lot of people who behave quite falsely. They are trying to cultivate a certain image. So they pick and they preen and they clip and they shape in order to try and cull this identity that they see as themselves, even if they're not cognizant of it. And when it comes off as hyper political or hyper political and polarized, it can be very off-putting because it's not the individual.
Yeah.
It's the brand at that point. And so, I think it's really important for people to learn a work-life balance and to realize that if you're an artist, that you have to be careful of the things that you say in public. You can't alienate your audience. And if you are speaking from a personal perspective, maybe just have a personal account, maybe have a private account. And then, you have your public facing account and then you have your private facing account. And then people it's easier for people to negotiate whether or not we're talking about product or we're talking about their personal life. And I don't think that everyone should be both of those things. Like your personal and your professional life should not be conflated. It shouldn't be converged until you have no privacy or identity at all. That's not reasonable either, right?
Yeah. Well, who was the I agree? Who was the writer that said, if you don't like my politics, don't buy my books?
Was that Kelly Sue DeConnick or whatever?
DeConnick, yeah. It's like, and then her books are getting canceled now. It's like, maybe not so smart. I mean, if you want to limit your, audience. I mean, famously, I think, who knows if this was a true statement, but Michael Jordan, they were asking him to get involved in politics, years and years ago, and allegedly said, Republicans buy sneakers too. So, I think he'd been asked to be, nominated Democrat, but, he was smart as a businessman. He's like, I'm a sports guy right now. I don't want to get involved in politics and potentially make half of my, fans, maybe mad at me.
Well, I think the public is smarter than people think. Like, I think the public is prepared for someone to take a stance on animal abuse or whether or not we
causes or things.
or whether or not we should use big nets in the oceans and things like this. I think they're prepared for causes and perhaps even controversial ones. But I think the 360-degree immersion in hyper partisanship via social media and this idea that we always have to be picking and preening and cultivating this self-branding mechanism is absurd. It's making people behave falsely. It's making people behave in a sort of mob rules mentality. And most of the time, we're not even getting the real person. It seems as though they're just using sheer piss and bravado to make people upset. And they want to make the right people upset. And that's unfortunate. I just think that you have to draw a line. I think one way of showing that you have integrity is to close the door. Have a social media where you lock it down, and you have the integrity to close the door, and then you can have these conversations in context. But if you're always speaking to the greater context of all of society and every single thing you say, you should be kicked in the shins hard.
Well, remember, Hungry Boy makes a good point. He says, "You're telling me if you don't discuss, politics and religion, now you're blacklisted for being silent." But remember what happened to Jay Lee? I think he did a cover for Cyberfrog.
He did. Yeah, he did.
And they went out to cancel him and destroy the guy. And then who some of the comic editors they wrote all these nasty things about him.
Oh, it was a Tom King jackass.
Yeah, Tom King, and Jay Lee is like, I'm not really on social. He had he didn't know what Comic Skate was. He had no clue of what was happening.
Yeah,
and they're trying to destroy the guy. And King, I gave an apology, half apology, eventually. But
that was terrible what they did to him. That was a bad situation. Brandon, what's up, dude?
Hey, Brandon.
Good to see
Brandon.
You, man. Oh, I can't believe what Hungry Boy just put. He said when he said they used to tell him, what is that? Way back when, and this had to be way back when, dude. Jeez, not to date you, buddy, but as freelancers, we were told at the company con tables do not discuss politics or religion. Wow, imagine that. See, that's way too sensible for any modern.
But I
company.
love that. I think that's true. I don't think you should be discussing sex, religion, or politics in public when it's in a business environment. I just don't think, and especially when it's public address. And I think people just forget that social media is public address, and that's crazy. Keep sex, religion, and politics to your Thanksgiving table, where you can subject your family to your kooky views.
Yeah.
I mean,
there you go.
If you can't do it at the Thanksgiving table, if you're even rebuked at the Thanksgiving table, perhaps it's that no one wants to hear that crap.
Well, yeah,
for years they did, but that had to be a long time ago, brother. No offense.
Yes, right, Clobby?
Yeah. Well, for years I had to listen to some of my family complain about a certain politician for years and years and years. And then when their politician was in, she's like, well, we're not allowed to discuss politics at Thanksgiving anymore. I'm like, well, wait a minute. You've been bashing my guy for years now. I can't talk about, well, we just can't discuss it rationally because you're just, I'm like
they were rational.
You can't handle the facts. It's like,
but the thing is that you do comport yourself with dignity, and you do have this sense of decorum. And so now I'll put it to you. Could you imagine having everything that is said at your Thanksgiving table or at your Sunday dinner table put out for public consumption, publicly broadcast? So I think that people just need to dial it back, maybe tap the brakes a little bit.
I'm being public,
Maybe a little filter is good. And I'm not asking people to be phony. I just mean to stop speaking with such hyperbole and to have such grotesquely emotional things to say and no ability to dial it back.
Yeah, right. I mean, of course, the joke in my family is that we grew up, we were very, not to say political, but we always talk current events at the dinner table, and every subject. And we just love talking politics in the family. But sometimes my mom or dad would, like, when friends would be over, you're always talking about politics and things. And so finally, I crack a joke one night. I'm like, come on, Mom, can't we talk about sex or religion now, please? It's like. Was it friends kind of knew, but it never was nasty. It was just, fun. And growing up as a kid too, I think that was great to have that dinner hour and talk about what happened during the day. But you're right. We weren't tweeting about, hey, did you hear what, Mark's dad said today at the dinner table? Or people get way too, not that you shouldn't have, views or opinions that are out there, but sometimes people get way too personal with, and they're not willing to compromise or have a discussion with people too. It just becomes like a flame war because you're anonymous behind a keyboard. But if we're all sitting around a table, maybe I'm not going to call Steve Mitchum some ugly words. I'm just picking on Steve because he's 6'4" tall and huge and looks like Thor. Maybe you'd be a little bit nice. Phrase your words a little bit differently, and especially if you're in person too. But when you're and we've made some great friends, online, and have a great community. But I mean, it's all on the other hand, it's it's really easy to be nasty when you're
It
anonymous.
is. And if
you know.
Aunt Edna has had 3 glasses of port, perhaps you don't want to take everything she says and pay to have it advertised on a city bus. I'm just saying, folks got to realize the medium and the message and get themselves straightened out.
I want to thank Brandon for the $5 super chat. Brandon, thank you so much, my friend. I hope you're having a great Thanksgiving. It says, newsflash, house sold, moving out this weekend.
Hey!
Offline till Monday or so. I am plotting my return. It's time mid-month December. Anime will reign. Fantastic, my friend.
Good luck.
Excellent. Good. Congrats on that, buddy. Thank you so much.
No one forget about Brandon, please, because he was saying that he's pretty sure it's going to take him till mid-December, maybe the tail end of the beginning of December. So make sure you stay tuned to Brandon. Don't forget about him. He will be back, folks.
Indeed,
great guy, and I don't want to say moving does suck sometimes. I gotta say so.
It does.
Good luck with that, because
horrible.
I hate my sister when she moved into New York City. She's like, she got a 5-star walk up, and she's like, "Well, can you and Dad help me move?" I said, "No, but here's $100 towards your movers." It's like, no, you're trying to kill Dad and me. It's like there's a reason there's professional movers. Like, we'll be there, but we're not carrying stuff.
And guess who just walks through the door? JPRPH1. I always triple over
Joe,
that because it's John. Hi,
John.
sweetheart.
I always say Joe. Actually, my stream brain. God,
yeah,
I got to write that down. Yep,
it's okay. It happens all the time. Streaming. I don't think people realize what it's like to have your own like live radio show, and it's completely unscripted. It's totally organic. You don't have anything planned, and so that's how it can go off the rails sometimes.
Once in a while, yep. We usually keep it on the rails. Yeah, Dolly's braces keep us in line. Yep.
Railroad tracks. Zach says, my wife is Portuguese, and do I ever have port stories? Yes, most certainly. And when it's Aunt Edna and she is 199, kidding, of course, exaggerating, it would be tantamount to taking out a billboard in the city, or paying to have everything she said for Ports Inn put on the side of a city bus. I mean, do you all want to be held accountable for that? And nowadays on the internet through social media, people don't realize that this is what's happening. They would never dare say these things in public. Go out the sunroof of a car with a megaphone shouting this from the rooftops, and yet they do it online.
Right?
Not enjoyable.
Yeah.
Not enjoyable.
So people can be, or we've had some port stories too, I'm sure. Yep.
Well, the thing is, about
especially Thanksgiving was great. Yeah, to go over and we'd start drinking port.
Yeah, but it, like when you were talking earlier about these celebrities, Mark, I could totally feel you, because you look at the history of these celebrities, and many of them have never done anything in their lives but study drama. Many of them quit school. Many of them dropped out in high school. So you're talking about somebody who literally stopped educating themselves in grade 9, grade 10, grade 11. And now they're on the world stage, attempting to command the attention of the world as the authority on an issue, and they're doing it through social media. And for me, it's a face palm, head desk.
I stopped in kindergarten personally, so I stopped way before them. It shows what they know. So there you go. Okay, I know I'm bragging. I made it a little past kindergarten, but I can't really remember beyond like the first graders, second grade. But like Jethro from didn't Jethro make it to the 6th grade though? On Beverly Hillbillies?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Well, 6th grade education was probably pretty good back then, though, right?
Yeah, he was the only one with an education. He kept saying he was the only one with an education. He got 6th grade.
Yeah.
Troy Purcelli. What's up, buddy?
Hey, Troy, welcome, Mr. Pacelli. How's it going?
Good to see you, man. Hope you just came over from the stream. I hope you had a good stream, bro. Good to see you. And I will not forget, sir, that we talked about last night that we're going to talk some Blake 7, you and I, and because I need to. And we're still going to do the Blake 7 roundtable eventually, but just one-on-one talking some Blake 7, buddy, because I
I'm
need to.
catching up on those. Yep. Got to watch a few tonight, maybe, or tomorrow.
Dude, I've already excused you from having to watch that. You don't have to.
No, come on. It's
Hello,
something you
Netters
recommend?
Network.
No,
I did not recommend it. I never recommended it.
All right. Yeah, well, I gotta watch it. Yep. I got
Netters-
$3 for
Netters
six
Network.
more days. Just kidding.
Gentlemen,
Yep.
I beg
Really?
your pardon. I
What?
just have to tap the brakes. Please excuse me. I hate interrupting you guys, but I think Chris is looking for a gracious exit. Could we do that for him? Chris Persia needs to depart, I believe. He's just trying to do it in a gracious way, subtle way. So Chris Persia says, I might follow Brandon's lead and call it a night too. Have a good one, everybody. Chris, I love you. Kalanikta.
All right, Chris Persia later, my buddy. Hello there, Netters Network. Lovely to see
Hey,
you.
Netters. Nice to see you.
Lovely
Take
to
care,
see
Chris Persia. Thanks for hanging with us. Thanks for wrenching.
They streamed and rewatched Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I've watched that forever. I love it.
Favorite. That's my
great
favorite Thanksgiving movie.
One of the
Thanksgiving
best.
movie.
God.
Yeah.
Can I do the scene in the rental car agency? Bleep,
Yes.
bleep,
Yes.
bleep, bleep.
Yes.
I want my bleeping bleep.
Do
Have
the
you
whole
watched
word.
that? Yeah, Steve Martin. God
You
bless
can even
Steve
say the
Martin.
words. It'll be worth it.
And I wanted to watch that tonight too because it's my Thanksgiving movie, and everyone's like, "Do we have to watch Planes, Trains, and Automobiles again?"
I
I made them watch
Real
Real Genius. Oh God, I love that. It's
Oh,
on
I love you, Chris. Think nothing of it. You are such a great part of this community, and I love your company, and I know everyone else does too. So have a wonderful evening. Kalinita fulaki.
Oh, and the other news now. Oh, I got to enable everyone. The Star
What?
Trek Enterprise Playmobil is 10% off. It's down to $450. So if you want that they're having a big sale of Playmobil on all their stuff. And Playmobil is killing it with their licenses now. So they've got they've got Ghostbusters, they've or Back to the Future. I'll put the link in the chat in case you have $450 bucks lying around to spend on this glorious enterprise. But God, maybe Santa will bring me one.
Troy, do you saying you cried on the stream? Did you show yourself crying or what?
And are
Just
you
curious.
being facetious? Did
No.
you get teary-eyed, or are you being facetious?
He means it. That was a sad ending.
Oh,
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles? Yeah, that's a sad ending.
Yeah. That's a tearjerker.
That's a killer.
That's a killer one. Yeah. That comes out of left field. Have you seen it, Raquel, or no?
have I seen what?
John Candy and Planes, Trains, and Automobiles with
Of
Steve
course,
Martin.
it's one of my favorite movies of all time.
That's a sad
Yeah,
ending.
so the
Very
tearjerker
sad
at the
ending
end.
there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, I cry all
He
the
says
time.
they cry every
Yeah.
year.
It's a great, yeah,
Yeah.
You have to cry every year. But then what you do is you follow it up with Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, and then the Three Amigos, and you make sure that you sing Blue Shadows at the top of your lungs, and you will feel triumphant.
Great movies.
I
Yeah,
love John
And
Candy.
I've not seen
Uncle Buck.
any of those three in a long time, but those are great movies.
Yeah.
Summer
John
Rental.
Candy.
I love Summer Rental too. If you have, Summer Rental's maybe not
Mhm.
appreciated as much, but
Yeah,
you can
I love
watch
it.
that movie too, and
It's
that's
great.
got.
John Candy was amazing.
He was so good. I love.
He was great on
with
City Television. Yeah.
Oh my God, he's just so good
SCTV.
on that. He's just so good. Yeah. I love that movie. Yeah. Is that
Johnny
the one where
Loveroo.
they go to the wrong house or something for vacation, I think, or in Summer Rental. I'm trying to remember that one.
I don't know if I ever watched that one, but I
Well, isn't that the one where they rent the house and then a whole bunch of bad things happen? Dan Aykroyd comes to visit, and he has those psycho twins that look like the Red Rum sisters at the end of the hallway in The Shining, and yeah.
There's a big sailing race in the end or whatever. Yeah. It's a crazy. It's a fun movie.
Was there?
Summer Rental. They have the big. They have the race, the regatta, or the sailboat.
I can't remember. Listen, John Candy's movie collection is just amazing, and all of his characters is so unique. They're so different and so wonderful. I just absolutely love him. But honorable mentions, of course, go to Steve Martin, because I just think he is hysterical.
Oh God, he's great.
He is
awesome,
Ruprecht at the table. It's just hysterical. I could watch it over and over again. I cry laughing, and certainly, yes, Blue Shadows is a favorite song of mine. And I crank it up on my Alexa. I tell her to play it full blast. It's great.
Great stuff. Some great evil, toxic 80s movies for you there. Love them.
Yeah, right.
Love them. And, so I just watched Stripes recently again for the 10
Yep.
billionth time. I love
That's
that.
a good one.
Oh my God.
Stripes is
Candy's
great, yeah.
hilarious in that. That's it makes me, because I think I watched it like right before I went to see Ghostbusters. You just think about when you see Harold Ramis now, it's tough not to get misty because he was another just great in everything he was in. Didn't do a lot actually, mostly wrote things, but still. When he was in something, like Ghostbusters or in Stripes or whatever, it was just terrific.
Yeah. Yes,
Just comedic
gentlemen,
genius,
it is a law in Canada. One must go to the shrine of John Candy. My husband met John Candy.
Oh, wow.
Met him at a hockey game or a football game. I can't remember which. And John was incredible to my husband. He treated him so well and was friendly and wanted to spend time with him, and was not annoyed or or perturbed in any way, shape, or form. And just what a great human being John Candy was. Magical person.
Yep.
A lot of great Canadians in SCTV. God, I mean, you think of all the famous people that came out.
Oh, they were fantastic. Yeah, Rodney Dangerfield was also great there. Max Redstone. I love Easy Money, and Back to School is wonderful. And Back to School has the added bonus of Sally Kellerman, which we love.
Back to School. God.
I love Back to School.
I watched that with my kids before they went up to college.
Sam Kinison.
I'm like, yeah, but guys, your dorm room is not going to end up like the dorm room in Back to School. I don't have that kind of money. When a kid comes back,
they had
like,
two big
jacuzzi. Yeah,
they had two Trek people in that. You know who else is in that?
Who else is that?
Terry Farrell.
Oh, she's in that. Right? Yep.
Yeah. Wow, that's right.
I love the term funzanoon, and I forget which movie that was from. That was a Rodney Dangerfield movie, wasn't it? Funzanoon.
Was it?
When you look up the meaning of it, it's hysterical. So whenever I would like to be vulgar and no one will know that I'm being vulgar, I call them a funzanoon.
Was that Easy Money?
It might have been Easy Money. That was
Joe Pesci.
Was it Joe Pesci? Let me see.
He's in that.
Is he really?
Yeah.
I love that movie.
I love Joe Pesci. That Easy Money was great. I think Back to School was even greater. What gets me is Rodney didn't make many other films than that.
No, it's Caddyshack 2, boss.
Other than Caddyshack. Okay. Oh, Caddyshack 2, a bad movie, but it's got a good part.
Bad movie, but funzanoon. If you'd like to be vulgar without being vulgar and have no one be aware of the vulgarity, my choice word is wow, what a funzanoon.
There you go. So yeah, Caddyshack, Easy Money, and Back to School. Three really great, especially the Caddyshack and Back to School, hilarious movies of the 80s.
I love that you said toots in the tub. That's so great. Phantom Outsider is not even slightly gross. I love you so much, Phantom Outsider. I just love Phantom Outsider. He could have used any and all manner of disgusting words, but instead he said toots in the tub. I love you, Phantom.
Very polite, yep.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
and that is
Ladybugs.
exactly what funzanoon means. It is someone who toots in the tub and then bites the bubbles.
I forgot Ladybugs, Zach's. Yeah, but he didn't make a lot though, comparatively speaking, did he? I mean, compared to a lot of people, Rodney.
Yeah, he wasn't in a lot of movies. Yeah, I think he's more of a stand-up comic. So, but some great memorable roles. I mean, and God, and you watch him on Carson or Late Night. I mean, hysterical. You can see when he's got everyone laughing. People can't stop laughing.
Because
it's so funny.
Remember him on Carson? Was it? Yeah.
Yeah, Carson. Yeah, it was great on Carson.
So funny, just absolutely hysterical. And I love the way that he would shake his head, and he had that little where he would roll himself on his heels. I got no respect.
I got no respect. Oh.
Yes, a marvelous person. I love him very much.
Yeah,
Kennison was great in that, and Back to School too.
And I think, comedians have always said are the best actor, or I should say the best, but just comedy is just so difficult. And then you see like how Bill Murray is able to do dramatic roles too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you've got to have that insane talent to be a comedian and actually pull that off. And that's why you can see them do dramatic roles as well, because they're just so talented. So
yeah.
it's
Lost in Translation was a beautiful, beautiful movie. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. That was disturbing, though, in some ways.
Yeah. But that just shows what Bill Murray is capable of, though, and it's marvelous because you think of him as as a silly person, and yet he was able to bring it in that film.
Yep.
I both sent you the definition of Funzanoon. I'm not going to say it on the.
Can't say it on the air, right? Yep.
No, I already
don't
gave
say that
it.
on the air.
I already gave it. It was already given. Phantom Outsider.
The word is given.
The word was given. Yeah, Phantom Outsider gave the correct definition of Funzanoon. It is someone who toots in the bathtub and then bites at the bubbles.
Okay, well then you could. I sent you the one Claude sent me. You can make up your mind. On
oh
WhatsApp,
no!
But we're not going to talk. You may not want to look at it. It's on the WhatsApp.
Okay. I won't look.
I can take it off of there if you want. Should I take it off of there?
No, Raquel can handle it. She can handle it.
You saw it?
She can handle it. Yeah.
Right. Oh my goodness! But I wouldn't say it on the show because I've been told what a prude I am by Arwen. I wish you were here, Arwen, so I can.
Yeah, Arwen would never go for that stuff.
She was talking to I love you, Arwen. If you're hearing this, by the way, she was talking to Purple, and I love you, Purple. Yesterday, and she was talking about how she felt like she went into that thing how she felt like she can't curse in front of me and talk nasty in front of me. I'm like, why me?
Because you're a priest.
I guess. Why me of all people? I don't even get it. Just because but I love her for it. Don't get me wrong. I love her for it. But yes.
She just hasn't spent enough time with you privately. But there's a time and a place for profanity. And profanity is the spice of life. However, it has a time and a place. And as does vulgarity. I mean, I like a lot of really vulgar comedians, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to be on every week talking that way because, it loses its sheen quite quickly.
Of course, it loses its Martin sheen quite quickly. Troy? No, we've got balance here. We've got a Southerner, a Yankee, and a Canadian.
Yeah.
And we have some lovely Canadians in the chat, of course.
Would you like me to leave? Too many Canadians.
Yeah, Troy, you don't like
I'm sorry,
Canadians
folks.
or something?
I'll just step out right now.
I've heard Troy. He doesn't like no dang Canadians. No, I don't know. He was just curious.
I got to drink some more metric beers tonight.
It's always Canadians night here, though, because we got a lot of Canadian pals that hang out with us in the chat and in the show and stuff. Was it a Global Geek Gang last week? I had no less than 4 or 5 Canadians at one point, I believe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
well, we do love you.
Hey.
I mean, we all talk about it, like in the chats. We always say so many Canadians love Clobby. We're like a little club. There's so many of us.
But I've probably told you before, though, in my whole life that I know of, I probably haven't met very many Canadians. I mean, just like as far as actually meeting them in real life or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
That I know of, obviously. You meet people, and I'm not saying I've met none, but it just haven't really occurred to me that, nothing like that I would meet somebody that I would know that is originally from there or whatever, what have you, that I might have run it because I've never been up there, as you know.
Yeah.
So it's, but then, when I started on YouTube, started making friends with so many wonderful Canadians that I've since retracted all those evil tweets about Canadians that I had, everyone that completely scrubbed them from the internet. No, but I love, we are all about the Canadians here, especially J-Man and Sean. Those guys are pretty cool.
And Chris Persia.
Yes.
And Canadian Spider-Man. And Sax.
Yes.
We're surrounded here.
You are surrounded. And what's really funny is that I'm not going to reveal who some of these people are, but there are people in your chats who you think are Americans, and they're actually Canadians. You are surrounded.
Canadian infiltrators.
I'm drinking maple syrup right now.
Netter is Canadian on her father's side. There you go. There we go. There we go. Hey, look, let me tell you something. Bottom line is the greatest starship captain of all time is played by a Canadian, even though his character's from Iowa, yes, but he's, James T. Kirk is played by Canadians. So there you go.
Scotty is Canadian. He's a decorated
Scotty
war
is
hero.
Canadian.
Yes.
Let's
He was injured during the invasion of Normandy. Yep. So
he lost his finger.
Yeah. So that's why that's what I said at one point too during one of the chats. Like back then, you had to hide your hand, and of course tied into my grandfather tonight, or like Radar had a deformed hand, they would hide it. You couldn't show that, right? So, but today you could. But yeah, James Doohan was injured during that invasion. So hats off to him. Yep. So these guys weren't just actors and gals that weren't just actors. They served and were in the armed forces.
In real life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Phantom Outsider says, I'm not a Canadian, but I play one on TV. No, he says, no, but I'm from NJ, but maple syrup is so good in bacon. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
We all love bacon, and we all love Strange Brew.
Yeah. That's for sure.
That's a hilarious movie.
Bob and Doug McKenzie.
Bob and Doug. I love that. There you go. I love it. And there you go. That's right. Claude has been up there.
You got your beer.
Claude has been up there since 2 weeks in places. Looks like it's spelled like Mississippi that I can't pronounce.
I'm so sorry that you came to Canada and you went to Mississauga. That's very sad.
Mississauga, okay.
You should have went to Banff or Jasper. Come and see me, Mr. Parrish, and I'll show you real Canada. And Zax is correct. We don't need to colonize Mars. We have northern Manitoba.
Yeah. Malcolm Reynolds. Well, not Malcolm Reynolds, but Nathan Fillion, Canadian.
Yes, he sure is. And he is from Edmonton.
Oh, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Belly bacon and back bacon.
Yes, we're just all the bacon here, Troy.
How about chocolate covered bacon? Do you like that?
We have that here. We also have bacon, maple syrup, and bacon ice cream.
They serve Canadian bacon down here. For the longest time, I didn't know what that meant. I said, well, that's different from bacon. I mean, because like at some restaurants, would you like Canadian bacon? Sure, that's different. I mean,
well, you can't get your genes. My favorite bacon is definitely Irish bacon. I'm a big Irish bacon person. I had it when I was little, and it just made a huge mark on me, and it became my favorite bacon. And I can't have anything but Irish bacon, like ideally.
I love bacon. Actually, and I don't like my bacon really crispy. I like my bacon. Kind of soft, like on the softer
disgusting.
side.
That's disgusting. You're saying soft, but what you actually mean is fatty and blacky.
There's a differentiate. I don't want it like crunchy enough where I bite it and then it like crumbles on me.
Yeah. No, but we're not saying bacon bits, but we're also not saying raw either.
This is a big fight in the house. Like, I kind of like a little bit of fat in there, but I always lose that one. But my trick to cooking bacon quickly, you actually boil the bacon first and then you fry it and you get a lot of the fat out that way. And then my wife, Mrs. Du's like, you're crazy. And finally Bobby Flay is on the cooking channel. He's like, my trick to cooking bacon quickly is boiling it in water. I'm like, see there, I was right.
Yeah, but where I come from, you don't boil water. You don't boil meat in water. Those people.
Well, you take it out. Well, you take it out though. You finish it.
No, honey, that's wrong. That's a wrong thing to do. And I'm sending you shin kicks. They should, and they're
we'll send one to Bobby Flay too.
And I have shoes on while I'm sending those shin kicks because you never boil meat like that. It's just ugh.
Oh, it comes out
in
good.
Water?
Trust me.
In water.
Yeah, and then you finish it. Yeah. But my favorite. You guys ever watch Master of None with Aziz Ansari? Master of None has the greatest bacon we probably can't show it because we get in trouble, but
yes.
So he's on the show. I think he's Pakistani on the show, so he's going to he sleeps overnight at a friend's house, right? So he's Pakistani, so he's Muslim, he can't have bacon. So his mom calls him in the morning and said, oh, we've got to go to church, service today. And he's like, well, what are you doing? It's like, we're having breakfast. What are you eating? I'm like, having these eggs and some meat. It's just so good. He's like, is it bacon? He's like, well, I don't know if it's bacon or not. He's like, ask if it's bacon. And like, it's the most glorious piece of bacon you've ever seen. And he's like, you're not allowed. We're Muslim. We're not allowed to eat it. And he's like, almost starts crying. And he like hangs up the phone. He's looking at the bacon. He's looking at the bacon. And he makes like this face. And he just eats the piece of bacon. It's like, so years later, like the whole show is about. It's kind of like a Curb Your Enthusiasm. He's trying to, like, he finally admits to his parents he's eating pork and bacon. He's like because there's a wedding, and he's like a bad influence on his cousin who like starts to eat. Like they go to a barbecue play, barbecue in New York. They're like having a whole barbecue competition, at a fairground, and they're all there, and they're like trying to hide to make sure no relatives see them there. It's just it was hysterical. But like if you watch that scene with like him, like drooling over the bacon, I should try to clip it just to have, without the set. It's just the look on his face and his eyes roll when he eats the bacon.
Well, here, like I can understand why that happens here so much, because Canada is basically like the mega epicenter for bacon, because we're multicultural. So this is where bacon comes to converge. So you have all these Irish people that are here that have their Irish bacon. Then you've got the back bacon. Then in Ontario there were a whole bunch of Irish immigrants. So you wound up with a pea meal bacon there. And then we have strip bacon, and we just have all different forms of bacon up here. It's really, really a lot of pork at breakfast time. It's a lot of pig at breakfast time up here. And especially in the West, where there's lots of cattle ranching, and Alberta beef is, of course, seen as, most people would say, the best in the world. And so it's a big plate of meat. I think it was Steve Mitchum who said that he had visited here. He had been to Banff, and I had also heard him say at one time or another that he was blown away by how much meat we gave him to eat while he was here. It's just we have a lot of meat. It's a lot of bacon. This is the place of bacon. Come here for pork. We have a lot of pork.
Yeah. Would you like some extra beef on your cereal?
Yeah, so like that's seriously, it's not even funny. That's what it's like. Here, when you go out for breakfast, you can have like a back bacon, you can have sausage, and you can have strip bacon with your eggs, and that's all meat.
Look who's here.
Hey,
Dad
man.
The Dad Man Clan. Did it to you. Well, let's say you did it to me again. More late night bacon talk. Thanks. At least I have ham. Dad Man Walking says hi, and says hi, and she's watching too. Oh, Mrs. Dad Man Clan. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving.
Hope you're not hungry again. Oh, no, he is.
Yeah, you don't want to be.
You're hungry again. What? I'm sure they got leftovers.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it might be hitting the turkey again, right? Well, that's the thing. You try to eat early enough so you can have the turkey. Do you have the turkey sandwich later?
Yeah, we ate at 4:00. It was, boy, but that was rough.
Sometimes we eat at like 2:00. Then by 8:00, you're ready for your sandwich.
Oh my goodness, Zach's bacon on your pierogies with butter and chives and sour cream and cheddar cheese. There is no better way to have pierogies. You are so Canadian. I love you, Zach's. And everyone else has no idea what we're talking about, but welcome to the Chimo country. This is Chimo, babies. It's Chimo, and we have netters coming in saying, "Yup, butter up that bacon." Oh, I thought you were going to talk about butter tarts. Netters,
What's a butter tart?
A butter tart?
I don't know what a butter tart is. I'm not Canadian.
They were invented here in Canada. They're a very, very Canadian thing to have. I will send you one via mail. I sent one to the great Nick Weiser, and he actually had a moment. It was nearly a sexual moment with the butter tart. So I will send you one. I will send you a very, very good one, but they are a tradition up here, and you simply must have one. So I will send you a butter tart post haste.
Sounds great. I'm always
So-
willing to try new foods. Yep.
So how much turkey do you have left over?
Well, we only did a 15-pounder because we weren't that many people. So there's probably like probably half the turkey left, I think. So, but it's oh god, it was good. Sorry, I shouldn't say how good the deep fried turkey was,
Well,
especially the skin right off the bird, right when you take it out. Oh,
What
that's
do
the
you
best part when you get to trim the bird. Then you
Oh yeah.
you get to pick all the good pieces off as you're cutting it up.
They didn't make it. We went to a. It's kind of difficult to explain where I went. I went to a friend of the family that was a former member of the family. It's not anymore. I can't even explain it. But because it was only my parents and myself and other family members, but a chunk of the family was at that game down at the Dome. So,
Yeah.
and other ones are in Florida. But so it was the first time it wasn't really done at my mom and dad's house or another close family members. But it was still, at least I had the turkey and dressing, which I love. My mom,
Okay.
makes a great dressing, but all the other stuff they had, that was nothing for me.
Nothing good.
Too much green stuff.
It's all kind of crap I don't eat.
Oh, that's so sad.
But it turned out okay. I mean, because I still ate tons of the turkey and the dressing, which I love. Then I get home. Turns out my mom had made a big turkey and a big thingy of dressing, and she gave me a bunch of the dressing. I got to cook it though, but still tomorrow. And but a gigantic load of turkey, so I have that to last for like days. And since my son's not here, he ain't getting any. No, he won't. He brought some. Now he brought some air fried turkey home from the other day that his boss had made. It was pretty good. He had
that
to freeze
can't be
it,
as good as a deep fried.
No.
That sounds way too healthy.
It was pretty
I
good.
know I had the deep fried turkey. I wasn't a fan. Andrew did a deep fried turkey. He did like a 25-pound deep fried turkey.
Oh, that's the best. Yeah.
And he did a wonderful job of it. It was absolutely perfect, cooked perfectly, but I wasn't a big fan. I just and usually, like I eat fried chicken 3 times a week. I know you look at my figure and you're like, Raquel, how do you eat fried chicken 3 times a week? But I just have a fast metabolism. I can't help it.
Damn you.
And
we have you got our metabolism, so that's why we can't use any.
Sorry, but yeah. So
I got the appetite, not the metabolism. Yeah.
but for me, I don't know. We call that dirty bird, and dirty bird is okay, but it will never replace roast beast feast. It should be roasted, I think. And Netter says she's asking what we all do with our leftovers, and she makes soup. Netters,
Yeah.
I make turkey enchiladas. So I take black beans and corn and butter and Mexican spices and cheddar cheese, and I roll it all up in some flour tortillas, and then I pour Mexican, usually the Mexican red sauce over them, and more cheese, and then I bake it in the oven, and I pull it out, and I put a whole bunch of sour cream on it and tomatillo sauce, and we have that as leftovers.
Oh, my son did almost something exactly like that with that air fried turkey, but it was I think he did quesadillas though with it.
Yeah, delicious.
And
like
those were
Good thing
good.
I ate enough today because I keep getting more and more hungry. Yep.
But it's nice when
too.
you do the Mexican thing, because it actually helps you to shift gears and to process all of the rich food, because when you add tomatillo sauce and things like that, you're brightening things, and just that little squish of lime on the turkey just brightens it all up again, and you feel very enamored with it all over again, because there are only so many rich meals you can have next to one another. I mean, I can have more than most.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm ridiculous. Like gravy is like a food group for me. You know what I mean? If I fell off the front step and broke my leg in a compound fracture, gravy would come out.
Gravy would come out.
Gravy would come out.
What do you use to make your gravy? Any secret ingredients, or it's just what's your favorite way to make gravy?
It depends. Are we talking about the bird?
The bird, yeah, bird. Like for Thanksgiving, or would you do you do gravy for chicken or fry? What you have gravy on everything?
Well, yes, I put gravy on everything. I literally put gravy on everything. So for a bird, especially if you're going to roast it, it should be roasted on top of a beautiful sweet onions. Maui onions are usually very nice. They have no bitterness to them. People who don't like onions cannot perceive their flavor, especially if they're strained out. Well, they get the flavor. I mean, they don't get the harshness, the bite back from them. So some nice Maui onions or some nice super sweet Spanish onions should go underneath your bird, as should some really nice chunky older carrots. Not the young carrots, because young carrots are quite sweet. So you definitely want to make sure that you're using the older carrots, and you want to lay your turkey on top of that with some butter. Now you can get extra turkey bones and roast them at 425 to 450, and you can put them in with your turkey, surrounding your bird proper, because those roasted bones will definitely intensify the flavor. And then of course you want to pour some nice chicken stock or turkey stock, if you can get it, over top of the turkey, and continue basting with it. And that should be the base of your gravy, and adding, of course, a light flour
the
to
bones
it.
actually, yeah.
So
Yeah.
roasted bones are a great way to do that. If you've had a chicken, and you keep the bones, you can of course pop them in the freezer. You can take them out, you can roast them up again, really dark, and that dark flavor or that dark color will impart the dark flavor. And certainly you need that pan and that brown, that connection between the vegetables, which would be of course the onion and the carrot, and the broth, all creating that magic together. And that makes usually the best gravy. As far as beef goes, it's really about, for me, it's really about a really great beef broth, and you can get that through definitely boiling marrow bones, and using a really good red wine. Not too good. It shouldn't be so good that you don't want to waste it. But a nice Shiraz will do, and a tiny bit of tomato paste, and you're rocking. You've got a very rich gravy. I mean, I could give you goat in a week, Mark.
But you don't you don't use Gravy Master, I'm sure. You must make everything homemade. Yeah.
No, there's no Gravy Master.
There's no Gravy Master. My brother-in-law saw Gravy Master. He's like, "What's that doing in the kit? Get that away from my gravy. That's not happening." My mom's like, "But I love Gravy Master." It's like, "You're Italian. I'm gonna do the turkey," because we do the Italian Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
So like the next day, my brother-in-law's like, "Well, since we're talking food," he's like, "Well, what are you having for Christmas Day?" We're like, "Nothing, leftovers." Like his face like just dropped. I'm like, "Wasn't enough food for you?" He's like, "But don't you do like a turkey or a ham or roast beef the next day?" We're like, "No, we have leftover pasta, and sometimes grandma will deep fry it for breakfast for you if you're nice." So
well, that's an Irish thing that I haven't done. That's an Irish thing that I haven't done since I was very little, but the Irish do that for St. Stephen's. So I grew up with that. To a certain point in my life, but the St. Stephen's, you're looking forward to a roast beef, or at least roast beef, really lean roast beef, cold cuts right after Christmas. So maybe you should.
Well, he started doing that, so I'm like, "Well, you're in charge of Christmas Day then too." So I'm like, can we get any fatter? It's like, oh my god. Jeez, because we'd eat so much. The Italian, we have like the 7 fishes. You have a gazillion. You have a big. It's like for us, it's the Italian side. It's the biggest, meal of the year, and the meal you look forward to the most. And then, like even the we don't usually do it though, but you have breadcrumbs in your pasta. You make like with garlic, and you fry the breadcrumbs, like it's grated really fine, like with spicy. And it's got Clobby'S favorite, so it's got sardines in it, chopped up. But it's got this great flavor in it. You can't tell they're in there, but it's the flavor.
Actually, I've never had them, but anyway, the stands.
Well, here I clipped this bit of the kid eating gravy with no volume. It's only a few seconds, so I think we're okay to share it.
Okay.
So I got to share the kid from Master of None eating gravy.
Okay.
This is hysterical. So So his mom just told him, you're not allowed to eat gravy. Or no, gravy and brain. You're not allowed to eat bacon. And he's like, but it's so good. So he's just like the face. And he's got,
Look at his eyes.
like,
He crosses
his eyes roll over. And then I found this. Here's the thing. That was Marvel Legends Comics present Thanksgiving Day special.
Sniff, sniff.
One good thing about Thanksgiving in Savage Land, there's plenty of drumstick to go around. So someone did a comic. Someone did a comic with Marvel Legends figures. So it's pretty hysterical.
So so
nice.
To answer your question from earlier, always make sure that you have roasted bones around. They will make the best gravy. And always make sure that you have really, really nice, high quality onions and carrots around. Make sure you have white wine around. Make sure that you have red wine around. You want to make a really, really nice gravy. But I should warn you now, Mark, when you come up here, you're going to gain a lot of weight if you stay with me. It's going to be really bad. My daughter and my husband actually do gravy shots after I go to bed. So they actually take the gravy boat from the fridge. They heat up the gravy and they do gravy shots. I swear to God.
Oh, my God. What?
They do gravy shots.
Oh, my goodness.
That's not a chaser, right? That's just the gravy shot, right?
Just
no chicken or turkey before.
It's
not a chaser. It doesn't chase anything. Yep.
They don't do this in front of me. I have heard about the late night gravy shots, and I was flattered and a little horrified.
Maybe you do bleed gravy. Yep.
Yeah. So
when you cosplay, you've got to with a salt vampire, you could be like the gravy vampire or something.
That's terrible and funny.
I can't leave it up there for long, everyone, but a little bit of thankful humor here.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh my goodness.
I can't. I'm thankful for this one, so I'm doing it again. What the hell?
Yeah.
I always love that one.
Oh,
really
God.
Oh, crap. Poor Batman being picked on by
Batman,
Superman.
right? Yeah.
Oh, crap. Oh, shoot. I'm sorry, everyone. That's not the one I meant to do. I meant to do that one. This one's for Arwen.
Oh, Mark, and also don't forget about the neck. That's also something that I roast.
You roast that in the oven, and that goes in your gravy, or that goes in the.
Yeah, I strain it out. It's of course.
Well, obviously, yeah, to make the broth, right?
Yes, to make the stock, to make the
Now, do you eat the giblets and the liver too, or
giblets?
you throw those giblets?
No,
I don't.
Those out? I don't eat offal. I don't eat any offal at all. I had to eat it so much growing up because I grew up of very, very modest means, that will never touch my lips ever again.
I like the liver actually, but I like the chicken liver.
Yeah, not when you have to eat that stuff and that's your only taste.
Well,
of
yeah.
meat. Like
Yeah.
When you grow up poor and you're all sharing a rubbery piece of liver or a rubbery piece of beef heart or those gross kidneys and
yeah. But I always still like the liver though. Yeah, but I can see why. Good. I can see why. Yeah, my grandfather loved pig's feet.
Yeah, only extremely affluent people are like, snout to tail. It's just like, okay, well, I'm going to give you some of that for a few years. We'll see if you crave filet mignon, because I'll take the filet mignon and you can have the oxtail.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Bye.
Well, tongue is actually pretty good, but that's not awful.
I don't miss tongue. I never want to eat tongue ever again. I'm good.
Or sweet bread, or what's the other? Or
head
cheese.
Sweetbreads.
I know.
This is all awful. It's all awful.
Well, you didn't realize that in the restaurant, right? Unless you spoke French, yeah. But or head cheese is like, Grandma, what's this? It doesn't look like cheese.
No, it's disgusting.
Sorry, we're grossing everyone out. Yeah. Well, Wanda looks like a good cook there.
Loving this conversation. They're all freaking out. All of our usually composed and funny people are just losing it.
God, the
Oh,
vision
nice
better doesn't have an
homophone.
apron on.
Nice homophone, hungry boy. Awful is awful.
Yeah, the Vision doesn't really eat though that I know of. I mean, I guess he
Right?
can, but I mean, I don't know. He's an android or a synthetic, but I guess he can. Like Data, always confused me why Data would bother eating. What I don't want to know what happens to the food that's incinerate or whatever. But yeah,
Well, he's fully functional, I guess, right?
Gross.
Right.
Hungry boy, gross. Brain scrapings. Ain't yummy.
this art sucks. By the way, I'm canceling this art right now.
Cancel it.
Yeah, I always thought the art sucked in West Coast Avengers. Don't you agree, Hungry Boy? I mean, I don't know. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know.
These are beautiful, beautiful images. I love them.
Yeah, these are nice ones.
They're very wholesome. They're very beautiful.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did Johnny
Although
cook the
Batman's
turkey?
smiling, so I don't know.
Well, Batman used to smile,
Yes,
right?
Batman's smiling. Oh, tripe is terrible. Yeah, I was adopted and assimilated by Greeks, and when I was pretty young. So, John, I have had my fair share of offal into adulthood, and tripe is one of them. So that's like a New Year's dish, boiled tripe. It's a specific Greek dish that Greeks have at Christmas and New Year's, and I had quite a lot of it. I'm gonna pass. I'm gonna pass.
Tripe is one of my all-time favorites.
I mean, I don't turn my
Tripe
nose
stew?
up to it, but it's just I think
Tripe-
I've had enough of it. You know what I mean?
Well, did you ever have tripe stew, or how did you said it was?
Yeah, it's a specific Greek dish. It's hard to explain.
Yeah, but we
don't want to
make it-
get
we-
into it.
Well, we made it with my cousin had a restaurant. He made it. Oh, so good. But you make it with potatoes, carrots. It's and a red sauce based, tomato based stew.
Mhm.
And but you've got to boil the tripe separately like 3 or 4 times.
You do. You have to.
And then you cut it up and then you cook it as a stew, and so it absorbs all the
You
flavors.
love food that's boiled in water. What's wrong
Well,
with you?
that one, even Julia Child boils her tripe. So
I know, but it's
I
so
have
gross.
the original recipe, but it's so. Oh, my
And half the
grandmother
reason
told me
why
it
they
was
do
fish.
that
I
is to
love
make
it.
sure that it's clean. Stuart Mitchell says, Raquel, didn't I hear you say on Lord Doomcock's live streams that you used to be in the restaurant business? Yes, I was. My ex and I were in the restaurant business, restaurant and nightclub business. And I was involved with that for about 15 years. It took me about 5 years to get untangled from that. So it swallowed about 20 years of my life. Yep.
Wow.
I have a love-hate relationship with the restaurant business for sure. Yep.
Would you eat olive loaf deli meat though? As Shelley asks.
That's a hard no.
I wouldn't, but
I
wouldn't.
I try a lot of different things, but
olives.
tripe.
Ugh.
But I said I'd make tripe in college, so I made it in our apartment. My roommates wanted to kill me.
Well, the smell, it lingers. I mean, and that's a serious smell too. I mean, that's a far
the
more
missus is
serious
never too
smell
happy
than
when
cabbage.
I make it during the winter. She's not happy.
Yeah, no, that's a open up the windows for sure. Like you have to open the windows for people if you're going to do the tripe dish, tripe dish. But yeah.
But I can see why people wouldn't eat it. But it's just when it's done right, it's just so you don't know what you're eating. It's just so good. It's just so delicious. But you'll have to take my word for it. I guess I won't make it for you if you come over.
I will send you the Greek recipe that we have at Christmas time and New Year's in Greece.
Yep. Well, it sounds it's such a. But I'm really the only one that eats it. So that's whenever I make it, no one wants to try it. So except some few people in the family will eat it. Yep.
Hungry boy, that doesn't surprise me because my parents, like my Greek parents, they were Greek nationals. So I know quite a bit about the countries that Greeks prefer to move to. And so, yeah, Greeks really do prefer to move to Canada and Australia. They love Canada and Australia for lots of different reasons. But yeah, you will find, I'm not sure if it's the highest concentrations, but certainly I've been told by my Greek relatives, and especially when I was involved with the Greek community and teaching Greek kindergarten at the Greek community and all that stuff, Greeks really do prefer Canada and Australia if they're going to leave Greece.
Then we up our way, we have Greek. It was considered Greek pizza or Greek style pizza, so it's very thick pizza. I don't know if that holds for around the rest of the country, but a lot of Greek people open restaurants, and the pizza is kind of thick, really good flavor, but it's very, very filling. So, yeah. But it's
that's the restaurant business. You'll see a lot of Greeks opening pizza restaurants. We had a pizza restaurant. We had a couple of pizza restaurants, and lots of gyro, or I guess Americans would
gyro.
Yeah, you guys do interesting things with the Greek language.
Yeah, and I tried to say hero one time, and the guy laughed at me. I'm like, I heard it wasn't gyro. He's like, no, it's a gyro.
No, it's not a gyro. It's gyro. And
I was trying to say it right. Yeah, and he laughed.
Alpha, Vita, Gamma, Delta, Epsilon, Zeta, Eta, Theta, Iota, Kappa, Lambda, Mi, Ni, Xi, Omicron, Pi, Rho, Sigma, Tav, Hi, Phi, Psi, Omega. Oh boy, it's been 20 years since I said that, but yeah, not even, there isn't even beta, right? It's Vita, but yeah.
And we just got something at Trader Joe's. Now this has turned into the food show. I had a 5-cheese
Thanksgiving, so
yeah, 5-cheese Greek spiral with Gouda Casseri. I can't say it. This is horrible. I can't pronounce it. Kefalotre.
Okay.
Cheese and blue cheese. You could say it correct. It was like this. It's pastry, like a pastry phyllo dough.
Philo.
Greek phyllo. Yep. Oh, it was so good. Yeah, I had it for lunch. Yeah.
Yeah,
good stuff. Yeah.
Pyropita, that's a cheese pie.
Yeah, it was no sauce, just the phyllo and the cheese. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah, but you were right. It is gyro. But yeah, it can also just be donair, because not everything belongs to Greece, right? Some of these things are from Greek lands becoming a part of Turkey through what was happening in that region that I'm not going to get into on this show. But yeah, especially in places where the places meet, like Thessaloniki and places like that. So it's very common to see things like hummus, or how it would be pronounced another way would be hummus. Yeah, so those aren't Greek, right? We have things that are Greek, and then things that are sort of like adapted into Greek restaurants because people have regional expectations from the restaurants. So it's all referred to, like, usually when you're seeing that, it's mezedis, so the little plates that we all share. So rather than having one plate that you're going to eat from, there will be 8 or 9 courses placed on the table, and then you use different breads and different vehicles for getting that food into your mouth. Sometimes it could be chicken souvlaki, it could be like bread and teromosalata. It could be any of these things, tzatziki. So yeah, the little plates, and that's where you'll see that kind of stuff happening. So donair, you'll see a lot of donair shops that are run by Greeks as well, and it's just street food, Greek street food, right?
Yep. Good stuff. Yep.
Nice. Well, there you go.
That's panikopita.
Max Redstone. That's fait accompli.
Yeah, that's
wow.
Hungry
That's a
Boy.
good one, Max.
That's
Max is good.
panikopita.
Max is good.
Yeah.
Those are stuff.
I'm so excited that he's doing this book about
Nice.
with using our show as his material for writing these limericks. It's quite a tribute to you and I, Clobby, and to our whole community. And yeah, I think it's fabulous. I love it, and I will definitely buy a copy.
I will buy one, Max.
Yep.
Yeah. But you got to promise to sign it for me, dude.
Signed copy, right? Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Yeah. Well,
And we can get Arwen to sing them someday, right?
Yes,
We
that would
will.
be great. Hungry Boy, do you like chicken souvlaki or pork souvlaki? Which one do you like? Yeah, so we wound up talking about food on Thanksgiving, and I think that's very cute.
That's
I think
kind of the way it works for Thanksgiving.
Right.
It's the only one that thinks about it on Thanksgiving. Used to be for me. It used to be food and football, but now it's just food.
Well, I got to watch the Cowboys lose tonight at the
Yeah,
end.
yeah. Sorry, Keely. I think Keely was
Is he a
yes.
Cowboys fan?
Yes.
Yep. Sorry about that. I'm a Giants fan, so
Yeah.
But
I gave him an insincere. I'm sorry.
sorry, not sorry, as the kids say today. Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah,
not
buddy.
sorry.
Yeah.
Well, you know what
the Cowgirls.
You know what they always go for the the 2 point earlier. They miss one, they go for the 2. So it's like it always drives me crazy in football. And if one of the Cowboys hadn't gone for the 2 one time and just kicked the extra point, they would have probably won the game. But
they tried a 60-yarder and missed it too.
Yep.
I was barely even watching it, but I saw that part. So, what can you do? But yes, indeed. What are you thankful for, folks? I'll tell you what I'm thankful for. What a great bunch of amazing, cool clobberers we had, especially tonight with us, hanging out with us, and last night too. And none of them, Mark, none of them ratted us out to Raquel about what we did last night.
Yeah.
What did you guys do?
As if we tell you. No,
we can't tell you.
No, we were just showing a bunch of different. We were talking about some Star Trek comics, and we got the question: did they ever do an Enterprise comic? And I had to answer it. But then we were caught ourselves looking at all these Trek comics, and no, we can't look at these without Raquel here. No,
yeah.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
You've seen some of those before, though.
See, you ratted ourselves out. You ratted us out. Yeah.
We
can't tell a lie,
banging
right?
in the background. The little dogs are now like, Mom.
Sherry, that's a wonderful thing to be thankful for.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm
Sherry.
glad you are. I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Hope you all did. There are those who celebrated, as they say, since we're international, and for those who don't, I'm sorry. If you don't celebrate, if you didn't get any turkey, you can come over here and you can have some of mine. That's, of course, not true. No one can have any of my turkey. Not even my son. I'm going to eat it before he gets here. No, have a bunch of it.
I love the stuffing. Stay away from my stuffing.
That we call it dressing down here, but okay.
Dressing, right? Yep. Stuffing.
Well, it's stuffing if it's cooked inside of the cavity, and it's dressing if it's cooked outside of the bird.
The pot, right? Yeah.
So no, it doesn't have to be in a pod. Some people will actually recreate the cavity using cotton netting and aluminum foil. So it tastes exactly like the cavity stuffing, and it has all the same flavors imparted to it. It just doesn't have the health risks. And of course, the turkey cooks quicker and doesn't dry out. So that's the difference between dressing and stuffing. So, yeah.
Thank you for that, Kellel, by the way. Yeah, well, that's one of my mom's favorite stories to tell, embarrass me with everybody when I was something like 8 or 9 years old. We had this oyster dressing, or whatever they call it. This dressing is what we call it.
Oysters in it, right?
Well, it's called that. It's not really. It's used to flavor it, whatever. It was dressing though, and I wouldn't eat it. So I said, "No, I'm not eating it." Well, I must have been like 7 or I can't remember exactly what it was. I said, "I'm not eating it." She said, "Well, you're not getting up to the table until you eat it. So you take one bite of it with a spoon." I said, "Not doing it." You are doing it, or you're not leaving the table.
Wow.
That's how long I was at the table.
Standoff. 24 hours?
Almost about 4 hours. She said about 3 hours.
Oh my gosh.
Wouldn't do it. And that was this. No, actually, it started out. She said, you got to eat it all. But then she said, you could go if you eat one bite. I said, I'm not doing it. That lasted another hour. So I finally ate a bite of it.
Yuck.
And then I ate the whole thing because it's one of my favorite things now ever. So she thinks just because of that crap, I'm gonna eat all of the other stuff she wants me to eat just because of that hysterical. One time.
That's so funny. That is not the direction I thought that conversation was going to go in.
Yeah.
That's why it's her favorite story.
I was right. Sea bugs. Forget those sea bugs.
No, there's no bugs in that.
And it was delicious. And
there's
there's no seafood in it. It's not oyster.
There's oyster. What do they call it? Oyster sauce or oyster?
That's what they call it. But
the oyster.
There's no way I would have touched it. I would have died first.
Yeah.
So
but it's the oyster flavoring. Yeah. Whatever.
It's her favorite. Because she won. That's why it's her favorite. But she's tried it with every other thing, And she's
Didn't
used
work.
the story to try to get me to eat other stuff. So I'm not trying anything else. Shrimp, I wouldn't do it. I would just won't. No, I won't touch shrimp
You don't eat shrimp,
or
right?
crawfish.
There's
No.
And I'm in
sea bugs.
Louisiana.
bugs,
I don't eat bugs. Everyone else in Louisiana can have the bugs. I say more for them.
Yeah, I love shrimp. Oh, big shrimp. Yeah. You know what my
You
dad did to
love it
me?
down here, dude. Ugh.
When I was a kid, I didn't want to eat the string beans. I said, Dad, they look like worms. He's like, and I was like 3 or 4. He's like, you have to eat some of them. And it's just like I ate some, and I was just thinking, but this is not the way to end the stream. But I didn't. It didn't end well. We'll just say that. So since then, I've never eat string beans. So I thought that was maybe where your story was going. So
No, there was a twist to it because well, I mean, now it's my favorite thing, and I had she made me a big old thingy of it today. It's cornbread dressing is what it is. She used to call it oyster dressing, but she didn't even use that anymore.
Okay.
Some people do, I think, but not. She knows better. So, yes,
Well, we're getting a lot of nice comments in the chat here.
Thank you. Now,
everyone
Max
who's making those
Redstone,
nice comments.
I'm thankful for that too. And just for you, buddy, get your ears ready for the quote. Let the talons of Wing Chang shred your flesh.
Oh my God, I'm scared.
Well, this is how he said it. You've seen it, Mark, right?
That's
scary.
Wait, is that from what's that from? That's from
Doctor Who episode, The Talons of Wing Chang.
Oh, okay. No,
I
don't think
Max will back me up. I may not have done the best impersonation, but that is how he says it. That's the episode. One of the episodes they're trying to get taken away and canceled because of stupid political reasons.
Yeah,
back then,
reasons we won't mention, but yeah,
it takes place in Victorian England. It's the episode where the doctor dresses up Sherlock Holmes. I love it. I love the episode.
Yeah. And they're trying to get it removed now.
There were a couple of characters in it that they were in Chinatown or whatever.
Yeah, but that was
what
a lot
of Chinese
was like back then. Yeah.
Yeah, but not only that, there weren't a lot of Chinese actors that time with the BBC. So there's a couple of
Breakfast at Tiffany type moments.
Well, they called them stereotypical. It wasn't really that. They're angry that some white actors played some of those Asian characters, but there were no other actors at the time. Like the main villain, most of them were actually Asian actors, and they weren't really stereotypical. It's a great episode. Well, thank you, Max. But it's an easy one to do. So.
Yeah, but look at Breakfast at Tiffany's. I mean, you able to show that in a few years?
That was stereotype, though.
That is, yeah. But I'm saying, that's
Mickey Rooney playing a
yeah.
I mean, Asian man though. Retro.
No, but it was. But is that part of it? How do you put a disclaimer on it, or do you, It's like I was listening to Dire Straits the other day.
Good Lord, I love that song.
But I'm like, they still allowed to play this song, or
Well, on the radio, even back then, there was a certain they had an alternate radio version that they made. You knew that, right?
Yeah. So they wouldn't play those words. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I don't think they would be too happy. They would be too happy with it.
Yep.
So yeah.
But I mean, it's just you trying to apply today's morality and standards to something, it could be 20, 30, 40, 50 years old. Doesn't excuse the certain things that happened or make them correct, but it's just that was the world, the worldview then. So then do you erase the past, or do you show, well, maybe we should correct these things, or this is the way things were and they shouldn't be that way anymore. But,
I say don't erase anything, let it happen. And if someone doesn't understand that it was done at a different time, you could easily just not watch the damn thing.
Yeah.
Or you could explain it. You could use it as a teaching moment so that people could understand it. I mean, I don't think that there will be any good. I don't think any good will come out of erasing everything after us as though we've done nothing wrong. And we'll be where everyone is, so happy and so glad right now and patting one another on the back for all of these things that are being erased. But I mean, what they're essentially doing is making sure that nobody will ever discuss this. And they'll feel so happy that they were so perfect in 2 or 3 generations. No one will even question anything, and it will be as though it never happened. And some people say, "Oh, how can you say that? Don't speak in absolutes. They can learn about that in history books and in museums." Really? Have you looked at the statistics on how many people are even aware today of what happened during the Holocaust? I mean, the truth is, within a generation or two, no nobody remembers these things, and I think it's dangerous because a society that absolves itself of all of its guilt and all of the good and bad things that it has done, and sort of just mops itself out of the room so that everything is spick and span. That society is doomed to repeat those same things because they don't stand in testament. There are no signs, symbols, or artifacts, or a means in which regular people can talk about them. And that's a dangerous thing to happen. It's a dangerous thing to happen.
No, it absolutely is a dangerous thing. It's terrible. Hey there, Retro, by the way.
Hey, Retro. And he's teasing you. Did you see that, Clobby?
Yes.
Yeah, did you see this? He says, it's Thanksgiving. Love me some sea bugs.
He's also quoting Tom Baker, Doctor Who. There you go. Anyone, by the way, before we get out of here, there was Doctor Who's anniversary 2 days ago, 58 years. Such a sad last 8 years have been so horrible. I wonder if any of you Doctor Who fans celebrated by watching any of the good stuff. I watched a little of it. I keep hearing everyone went back and watched something or other that what they loved. And it just, now when you do it, it's such a shame because it makes you sad about what's happened to the show, especially when you watch quote unquote new Who, as they call it.
And you.
Not new.
And you, everyone says and you. Don't
even
want to write
the NU, but it's not. It's still Doctor Who. I mean, I prefer what they call classic Who, but I do the show was still a lot of fun to look forward to up until the 50th anniversary. I went back and watched the 11th Hour, which was wonderful. The first Matt Smith story. I went and watched The Night of the Doctor, then The Day of the Doctor, which I love. A lot of people didn't, but I love that 50th anniversary. And when you're watching it now, you can't help but escape the sense of sadness that you get that it's over. I mean, it's been so horribly. It's been ruined.
It's not even like you have a few clunker episodes now and then, like we do with our beloved Star Trek. Or
no, they have plenty of clunkers. But still,
But it wasn't. Now it doesn't even feel like Doctor Who. Now when the stories are so bad,
the
acting is so bad, and it's just. I started. The new stuff got me so upset. I started doing a rewatch of I started in 2005. I said, let me get this out of my system, and then I got to go back and start rewatching the. I have every season of Doctor Who, so I got to go back and start. Rewatching some of the stuff I hadn't seen, and then they're still finding. Up to a few years ago, they were finding some episodes, and now they've been restoring the episodes, doing them animated. So
animated and
growing up, you couldn't even. There was some you couldn't even watch. You could listen to. I think they have the audio of every episode.
They have all the audio. Fans. They finally found all the audio because of fans. By the way, talk about fans. Fans do it all, folks. Fans get dumped on. Without fans, there wouldn't at least every single Doctor Who story audio at least. Would not exist.
Fantastic, yeah.
And there were fans.
But the whole idea of that is absurd, don't you think, though, Clobby? Because audience is everything. I'm an author. I studied writing in university. I studied editing in university. The way that I was taught, and certainly I agree with this myself, that you're writing for your audience. You choose a genre, you choose a psychographic and a demographic, and you write for that audience. And you're cultivating that relationship with that audience. So the audience is king. I don't understand why in our modern society the audience is enemy, and you have to have an adversarial relationship with the audience, and everything you write and everything you do has to be hyper didactic. So over moralizing, and it has to be hyper political and hyper partisan. It's so absurd. I just wish they would stop it and stop trying to write as though every single thing we make is for everyone. And you can hear the corporate influence in this, because the corporations want you to write for billions. They want all 7 to 9 billion people on Earth to buy that one thing. And that's all they care about. So they don't care about genre. They don't care about interest. But imagine a world without genre. Imagine if everything was written for everyone. If everything is written for everyone, then it's written for no one. Mm-hmm. And I want you to, folks at home, if you're wondering what I'm saying, I want you to think about it this way. There once was a time when we had photographers in our society. There was an art and craft of photography. And then when smartphones came along and the technology advanced and we had digital cameras, everyone became a photographer. And so once everyone was a photographer, no one was a photographer. And what I mean by that is nobody can ply that trade anymore and make a decent living at it, unless,
Very
you know,
tough.
you're Annie Leibovitz or whatever, and, you know, you're this 1%er from Hollywood who made it in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And so this is the same thing with the things that we love. It's okay that 11 to 17-year-old boys want to read this. It's okay that women who have children want to read this. It's okay that science fiction exists, that gothic horror exists, that comedy exists. I don't understand this new idea that we can't have any genres and we can't have any psychographics or demographics. And like I said, it's absurd, because if it's for everyone, it's for no one. It will not please anyone. And the corporations are just doing that to try and sell billions of everything. And that's not realistic. They're going to have to work harder than that.
I think that's one of the reasons why maybe Ghostbusters Afterlife is not liked by the critics, is maybe it's in some ways a love letter to fans, or, you know, I don't like saying fan service, but had a lot of fan friendly elements to it. It didn't subvert expectations, maybe.
Well, I think it was a Time magazine that released a review of it that I just thought was absolutely absurd. And I say that as a scholar now, not as like, you know, when I'm on Clobby'S Clubhouse, I'm not speaking professionally. This is just me personally hanging out with my friends. Now I'm speaking professionally. It was an absolutely absurd review, because she basically said that this was a family safe movie. It reminded her of all of the original film. That it did not create any adversarial relationship, basically, is what she says in this review. And I posted it on my Twitter if you'd like to go and read it. But absolutely absurd. So now the status quo amongst these critics, evidently the digital ones at least, it is creating this adversarial relationship where you're fighting using hegemony and using politics and using hyperdidacticism, so control, power, over moralizing in all of your story writing. And so they want the corporations want this to stir up trouble and to cause this grief and this strife, so that it can become water cooler conversation. So everyone wants to watch it because it becomes a social or cultural marker rather than a nice story that a person can enjoy that can take you away to a different place. And so, you know, the corporations know what they're doing here. They're using psychologists on their writing teams to vet whether or not these stories will be useful, viable, whether they're going to be huge money makers. And so they're definitely moving culture in a different direction. And it's a very dangerous direction, because now it will be an adversarial relationship. Again, hegemony, hyperdidacticism, partisanship, and that's just fancy scholar talk for over-moralizing, creating power structures, talking about usurping power, instead of telling beautiful stories. We need genre, we need psychographics, we need demographics, and the corporations, we should make them work harder to return to the days when somebody could say, oh, I want to watch a comedy. I want to read a comedy. A movie can't be a superhero movie and a comedy and political speculative fiction and this and that and the other. And that's what the corporations are trying to do. And they're doing it to try and save money. And they're doing it because they can make a lot of money off of the impression metric economy online. And in many cases, these multi-mega corporations are making far more money on that than they are at the box office. And just follow the bottom line, folks, and you'll find the truth of the matter.
Well, JT Kirk popped in, by the way.
Yep.
Hey, JT!
Happy T-Day.
JT, I forgot you were a Lions fan. I'm sorry, dude. I'm
very sorry.
They had a chance to win there at the end. I mean, you know, I feel bad for the Lions because you got, I know you did, not just because you hadn't won this year, you got the one tie, but, you know, you at least want to win on, because you guys get every Thanksgiving game.
Yeah.
They've been playing Thanksgiving for about 60, 70 years, whatever it was. And you're the original Thanksgiving team. You played the first game every Thanksgiving, the early game. And no matter what kind of year you're having, the Thanksgiving game is huge for Lions fans.
Did they play the Bears today?
They had a chance to beat them too. And I got a lot of buddies who are Bears fans. And you guys, that's the one win you want to get, at least that means something to Lions fans, at least from what I know there. But of course, he won money on it, so there you go. But yeah, I'm sorry, dude. The Lions are maybe I hate to say it because I know it's your team, but you know this better than I do. The saddest team in all of sports, buddy.
Even more than the
every
Bengals?
Sports.
Even
more.
I've never seen JT Kirk
Jacksonville?
use sad emojis before. Look
They're
at
the Bears.
JT, I love you, honey.
Sorry. Well, it's been a while since you guys had Barry Sanders. God, he was a joy to watch.
Way worse than the Bengals. The Bengals have been to 2 Super Bowls. I mean, it was a long time ago, but the Lions have never been to a Super Bowl, and they've only won 1 or 2 playoff games. They have a championship before Super Bowl era, but
in the 50s, right?
A couple of championships early on, not since 1958. And that was when the Bobby Lane curse started. I know you know about that. You don't need to hear about the Bobby Lane curse, JT. At least the Red Wings have done something. That's true.
The Cubs have won.
The Cubs
right?
have won.
That was the other
and
curse
JT,
team,
we
right?
have something that will cheer you up on Saturday night, Star Trek.
Oh, we got a Bears fan. There we go.
We have something. I have
Yes.
something prepared for you. Clobby and I are going to do it on Saturday night, and you are going to howl, baby. Well, I don't want to oversell it. You're going to enjoy it. So make sure you show up on Saturday night.
Bears
slap
fan.
down funny.
The Bears.
The Bears. yeah.
Bear down, Chicago Bears. Make every play, clear the way. Victory, bear down, Chicago. Yeah, well, just don't sing the Super Bowl shuffle at me, dude, or I'm going to have to hurt you. I hate the Super Bowl shuffle. I mean,
Walter Payton. They didn't give Walter Payton the ball. Come on.
Yeah, you didn't let Walter
fridge.
Payton get a touchdown in the Super Bowl. You got 20,000 touchdowns in that game. You didn't let Walter get one. Sweetness. Why? It's Ditka's fault. He should be ashamed of himself. But the 85 Bears were mighty. I agree.
Yep.
He's a Bears. Look, I know some Bears fans. They are some fans there.
That's what the SNL. They had the Bears on. That's what it's from.
I remember those.
Yeah, he knows.
But you know, I'm a
They go
nerd,
to
so I know nothing about all this. So I'm going to deploy the gerund to make you all laugh. And yes, linguistically, it does not make sense unless you're in on the joke. It is a gerund. Sportsing.
They know that we're almost off the sportsing, but I do feel bad for my the Bobby Lane curse. He knows about it. Look, 50 years of loving that game. It's tough to walk away from it, but I did it last year. But I don't know. Maybe I'm better off. It still feels bad, but so once in a while I'll talk about it. But yeah, and I feel again tonight. Hey, look, tonight the season pretty much ended for my friends down here who still love my formerly beloved Saints. So. I mean, they're not good. And your Giants are no good this year, right, Mark? So there you go.
Yeah, they're disaster. I mean, they had flickers of greatness, and they snatched defeat from the jaws of victory about 3 times, losing by a couple points. And then I haven't been following as closely, but my kids are big fans. So, and then we, then it's like a social thing, football too. You got to say, like you said, you went to some, family to watch, the games on, doesn't have the same meaning, I guess, but it's tough to, it's around. It's social thing. So you hang out and you watch.
I still love.
And I got to meet Otis Anderson a couple weeks ago for the charity dinner, and some other players and stuff.
That's right.
So
that was so fun. Yeah, for you anyway. Yeah.
Otis was hysterical. Yeah, what a great guy. And big guy.
I think Shane's leaving. Shane, it was a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much.
You, Shane.
Our pleasure to be here with you tonight, and so happy that you enjoyed the discussion and that's what we wanted around here. It was not so much a show as it is just a bunch of friends hanging out. So it's so nice to have you as part of this community, and I'm glad you had a great time.
Clobberin Times versus Ditka. Who wins? Clobberin Times 23, Ditka 77. That's about right. He was a great player. He was a great coach. Well, he was a great player who had some success coaching. He has 3 rings from 3 different, being a player, being a coach, and being a head coach. So you got to give him that. So, of course, it's not a fair competition. Well, this is like the Globetrotters versus the Washington Generals.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right. Well, look, everyone. I want to thank you all for hanging out with us tonight. I will ask my wonderful first officer, chief engineer, if they have anything that we haven't covered yet, or
Any more turkey recipes we could get? No, I think that was a fun show, and yeah, that was a great time to I love talking food and comics, and I guess you get it all here, right?
Well, it is the Clubhouse. This is Clobby'S Clubhouse, so we're going to have to talk about
Gravy.
Remember the genesis.
Tripe.
If you're at home and you're wondering what the genesis of the show is, or what the main idea is it's not a show about nothing. It really is a show about everything, because the impetus of this show was the fact that we do this. We were doing this a couple of times a week off air. And then Clobby and Mark were really smart. They were like, maybe we should let some people in on this conversation. So that's what this is all about. So this is basically how we talk in private, is how we talk on this show.
Pretty much. Yep.
Yeah. It's always the Trinity here for us. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to, number one, before I do our show notes and closing show notes and everything, why not tell everyone once again about your literary works and how to find them?
I love you so much. Thank you so much. Do you like Philip K. Dick? Do you like the old Twilight Zone? Do you love Edgar Allan Poe? Then you might like my science fiction short stories. They're on sale separately. You don't have to buy a whole book. They're just separate, and they're on Amazon. You can download them on any device, Android included, or you can buy them through Kindle. All you have to do is look up R.M. Briggs. They're all short stories, and they're under $1 a piece. And I appreciate every single person who has supported my work as an independent artist. I love you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Number one. Let's see here. Quick show notes, everybody, and then we'll say our goodbyes and get out of here. Saturday night, Star Trek. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. I'm going to say it the correct way. Saturday night on a very special Saturday night Star Trek on Clobberin Times. The feel-good show of the century. We will celebrate. Your very heartstrings will be, I don't know, ripped out or something. I don't know. It's gonna really, really be fantastic. This is a special edition of Saturday Night Star Trek coming up. You will just it'll be, we have Thanksgiving today. This might be another holiday. Let's just say that. It's probably going to be a date which will live in infamy.
Clobby, could you please do your Tombstone impression?
Which one?
The one. Well,
yes.
Bye.
Well, bye. I can't do a very good Powers Booth, but there you go. Because, all right, Wesley. Well, now you call down the thunder. Now you got it. I see a red uniform with Wesley on it. I kill the Wesley wearing it. You understand me? So one, you cur, Wesley. And tell all the other Wesleys I'm coming. I'm sorry. I'm going to stop.
GT
I was about
says,
to really
I wish
yell.
Wes had chugged that booze and just expired in the desert.
No,
I love you, GT.
Goodiness. So then, of course, Monday night on Monday Night Mark C Comics Talk, it'll be the big Spinner Rack Time Machine wrap up for November 1977. And another comic talking stuff. I don't know that it'll be talking some comics and geeking out here and there, and we'll spin webs and lie about things and say dirty words and all kind. I don't know what we're just gonna do stuff. We're gonna say things.
Say things. Yep.
Yes. No, not things. Yes, things and stuff and words and noises and sounds and things and such.
Do the Packlets take Wesley away?
Look, even the Packlets aren't that
stupid. I are smart.
Even the Packlets aren't that darn stupid.
Yeah.
It's going to be a party indeed. So anyway, who was here with us tonight? What a great bunch of people we've had with us here tonight. Look at Retro popping in, though. Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah.
Sherry, the lovely Sherry, was here. Also, Stuart Mitchell, buddy. She had braces, never forget. JT Kirk, good to see you. Hungry Boy, always fantastic to see you here, my friend. Kal-El, the Max Redstone brother. Dad Man and the Dad Man clan was here. Excuse me.
Dad Man clan.
John, good to see you. Decepticon. Sean, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight, brother.
Wow, he was on fire tonight, Clobby.
Appreciate you, man.
Even Hungry Boy was impressed. He was so good. Decepticon was so good.
Sean is extraordinary. Even if he did try to ruin Ghostbusters Afterlife for Mark.
Yeah, all the damn logic and reasoning.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Mr. Scrooge. Shane, buddy, thank you, Shane Nolan, for being here. I know Netters Network. Oh, lovely to see you, and lovely to see Troy is here as well. Yeah. We were honored to have a visit from the great Tom with Midnight's Edge.
Yeah,
Tom, thank you. I don't. He's probably not out there anymore. Probably busy somewhere, but. Thank you, Tom, for popping in. It was an honor to see you there. And let's see. Yeah. I'm
Claude?
to chat back.
Did you say Claude?
Yes, Mr. Parrish was here.
Claude was here. Any chance to say Claude? It's fun.
Yeah.
It is the romantic pronunciation of his name. And everyone in the chat who is familiar with the name and French is in agreement with me. Yeah, he has a very, very masculine, sexy French name. It's Claude. It's not Claude.
It's Claude.
No, Claude that's like a chunk of dirt you pick up off the ground.
It's sold. I'm going to call him Claude for the rest of his life just to activate him. So yeah, I guess one of the nicer things I call him. What's that?
I was going to say that my Twitter poll just closed, so it looked like whole cranberries won out 53% to 47%, 19 votes. So the whole cranberries have 19 votes. Yeah, we didn't get a lot of votes, but that's okay. I should have run it for longer. Yeah.
Paramount Cider was here as well.
Yeah,
and buddy, and Steve Mitchum popped in, bro. Appreciate you.
Maddie Spatty, kiss her for us.
And if we missed anybody, it's just Eric. Look, I knew this. Eric K. And Chris Persia. We're both here.
Yep.
The great Chris Persia. Yes, and Andrew, who's now not talking to Raquel because she made fun of him.
No, he loves me. He doesn't care.
Shane Nolan.
Yes.
Yeah, I did. So anyone else? Yep. I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving, and it's still Thanksgiving here. It's gonna be that for the next couple of days because it's like the weekend and all that good stuff.
Yay.
So thanks.
Everyone keep eating stuffing.
Oh, wait a minute. Is everyone gonna go now? You're gonna celebrate Black Friday?
You go shopping or buy comics.
Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to Mark D with the C's channel, please, everyone. Mark D with the C has his own channel. He is a very gifted maker. He does 3D printing, and he's also cultivating a very cool little show, like a number of shows. He has a full show schedule, but the one I love the most, not the enabling because it costs me way too much money, but he's doing a Sunday night show, and it's quite a lot of fun. Like all the usual suspects materialize, and we make complete fools out of ourselves, and it's such a great time. So don't forget to subscribe to Mark D with the C's channel, and please, if you're in the market for any type of like repairs to any of your like super expensive action figures or collectibles, make sure that you ring on Mark's bell first, because he's got that 3D printer. He's a talented machinist. He does programming, and he makes some really cool stuff. And if you can afford it, and it's not even that expensive, buy a Doomsday machine. His Doomsday machine is so
for Brightest
cool.
Day right now too, so which is cool. And so I got the printer working again. Finally, my printer was down for a little bit. So
I'm waiting for my other thing.
Yeah, I got the other thing too. That's coming next. Yep. So yeah, and I've been printing a lot of stuff for you guys too for my co-host that I haven't told them about. But that box keeps getting heavier to Canada. But good thing plastic's not too heavy.
But it all can't be gifts, folks. I commissioned my friend, and if I can commission my friend who was horrible to try and pay, he almost didn't let me pay him. You can commission him too. Please support indie artists. Mark deserves it because he is a very talented person who is also a loving and loyal friend. So commissions.
Doomsday machine comes complete with insane Commodore.
Indeed,
No,
it's
that,
just-
JT Kirk. Yeah, I got to print one of those. Yep.
well, everyone, again, I'm thankful for all of you, all my clobberers, all my
Me
wonderful
too.
people who hang out with us for all the streams. And I'm thankful the way you've all been for this new show that we started just now. This is only number 8 of our Clobby'S Clubhouse. The whole point of it is, as Raquel mentioned, is it's just the Trinity, just the 3 of us. We don't do guests or anything like that. We just hang the 3 of us, just bouncing off of each other and having a little bit of fun and stuff. So it was an idea that I thought would really work, and we just kind of just threw it out there on Thursday nights now, and it's really fantastic, and I really love it. And I'm thankful to my 2 wonderful friends, Mark and Raquel, and of course all of you clobberers. So thanks, and we'll see you Saturday night.
Thank you. Well, thanks for the submitters.
Night.
Good night.
Everyone, and let's see here. Here we go. Clobber on clobberers.